Hello and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop, your one stop for co-op news and playthroughs. And today we have something very special. We have an unboxing. I think might be the first unboxing on any One Stop Co-op Shop content, but I'm super excited about it. Fantasy Flight reached out to us. We did a card preview for them. They also sent us out some stuff ahead of time. So we got them about a week ahead of time, and we're going to look at the Storm pack, the Wolverine pack, and the Mojo Madness pack today. And we're going to do it in that order. So if you don't want to be spoiled on one or any of these, I'm going to have timestamps in the comments after we're done. Of course, we're recording live now. We're not going to have timestamps yet, but I will have timestamps at the end to let you know where you can get to each of the individual packs as we're opening them. And we are basically going to go through every card from every one of the packs. So hope you are as excited as I am. Marvel Champions has definitely become one of my favorite games. Also, if you want to see more content, if you want to see these decks play not live, I'm going to have a recorded plays. I'm actually going to record tonight and then have them posted by Friday on the One Stop Co-op Shop channel. And Friday night, I'm going to be playing, but with the older stuff. I've already recorded that one. We stream every Friday night, 10 p.m. Marvel Champions stuff, and that will be, we will not be doing it live, but I will be commenting live along with you as you watch the game that I already finished up, and that's going to be Cyclops against which one is it? The Mansion Attack. So it's a good one. It's an epic game. I will leave it at that. But anyway, you're not here to hear me talk about this stuff. You are here to see me open up some stuff. So we're going to start with the Storm deck, then we're going to go to Wolverine, then Mojo Madness. I can see comments out there. Let's see. So excited. So we've got Reverse Go says, so excited. I'm predicting that Storm will become my wife's hero to play. Also, finally, time that I can attend. Eric Festerin says, hello, heroes. Thanks, Peter, for running this unboxing. Yeah, so this is my first unboxing. So please, if you have any comments, first of all, be kind, because this is my first time doing it. But also, let me know. Let me know what things you think I can improve, and we will work on that if we decide to do this again. I don't know if they're ever going to send us anything early again, but they did this time, so we got that going for us. All right. Well, open it. Normal pack. We've got the artwork over here for Storm. And let's see on the other side, are there any new keywords? We got Stalwart, Piercing, Permanent. A card with Permanent cannot be defeated. Well, yeah, we've seen Permanent. We got the Amplify icon. We've got Weather. All right, so the Weather deck. Storm's mutant power allows her to control the weather. Actually, let me put this over here so you all can read it as well. See if I can get it with a little less shadow, but Weather deck. Storm's mutant powers allow her to control the weather. To represent this incredible ability, Storm begins each game with a special 4-card Weather deck, in addition to her player deck. To create the Weather deck, shuffle all 4 Storm weather support cards together: Clear Skies, Hurricane, Thunderstorm, and Blizzard. Then place the Weather deck face down next to your identity card. Storm's setup ability requires you to choose one of the supports in the Weather deck and put that into play. Each one has a constant ability that affects each character in play, friendly and enemy. So be sure to consider that when deciding which one to play. Each weather support also has a permanent keyword, which provides it with a different one from a Weather deck using her weather control ability or the Weather Goddess event. And I guess we're going to find out what those things are. She does come with a leadership deck out of the box. Storm begins the game with one of 4 weather supports in play. Yeah, we just talked about all that. Summon Thunderstorm. All right, well, we will see how this goes. So let's go ahead and start with the unboxing. So we got 9 down. Says the continuing growth beard revealed. Yes, so for those of you who it's your first time seeing me, I do not normally have a beard. I am growing this for No Shave November. I started a little bit early, but it is basically a little over a week old now. So this is definitely something new, not something I normally have. All right, so let's go through her cards one at a time, starting with the Storm card. We'll start with her alter ego. Let's see if we have anything else. Corbis says, joining for the first time from South Africa. Welcome, Cobus. Jeffrey says, hope they have some new interesting powers to show off. Well, I hope so too. We will see. All right, so Aurora Monroe, she is her alter ego, 3 recovery. She's a mutant. Aurora Monroe begins the game with her weather deck. See the insert. I feel a storm coming. Setup. Choose a support from the weather deck and put it into play. All right, hand size 6, 10 life. Let's flip her over, see what she has on her alter ego size. She's a 1/2/1 as Storm. She's got the X-Men trait. Weather control action. Swap your weather support in play with a support of your choice from the weather deck. Resolve the special ability on your weather support in play. Limit once per round. So, let's see. So you can change your support and it's going to trigger something special. So I guess we should look at these weather deck cards to see how they work. I'll leave her in play as we do that. We got Clear Skies. It's a permanent. Each character gains Stalwart. Special, she gets to draw a card when she switches to this. Pretty straightforward. And remember, that's each character. So that's allies, that's enemies, that's minions, and friendly characters as well. Heroes and alter egos. All right. Then we got Hurricane. It's a permanent. Each character gains Retaliate 1. Special, remove 2 threat from a scheme. And actually, let me move these down a little bit. All right, so this lets you thwart for free, basically, and each character gains Retaliate 1. Sweet. So we got Thunderstorm. I'm assuming this is a little aggressive. Permanent. Each character gains +1 attack and deal 2 damage to an enemy. It is a little aggressive. So I like that you could do this, and it's an extra, and she could do this from turn 1. She could just start changing the weather, dealing damage, thwarting. That's free stuff. No wonder her stats are a little bit low. This is pretty amazing. And the 4th one is Blizzard. All right, permanent. Each character gets -1 attack, so this is more of a defensive one. Special, choose a non-elite minion. Until the end of the round, treat that minion's text box as if it were blank, except for traits. Oh, so you can get rid of some of these annoying text boxes that would do bad stuff, like make you draw stuff or whatever else. That's kind of nifty. So if there is a villain you're having a hard time getting rid of, you can just blank it out by putting the Blizzard in there. Sweet. Now it is only non-elites though, so it isn't omnipotent. All right. So we got some special cards here. These are unique to Storm, obviously. This is her deck. Although, to be honest, they look like basic cards a little bit. The coloring on them is a little like basic cards. So I do think you're going to have to pay attention when separating this out. So Storm's Crown. Storm gets +1 thwart. Hero resource. Exhaust Storm's Crown to generate the printed resource of your weather support. So each of these. So Clear Skies has a wild. Hurricane has a physical. Thunderstorm obviously has energy, and Blizzard has a mental resource. So this is +1 thwarting and gets you a resource. She does have a 5 hand size on this side, so it's not even like she has a limited amount of resources, which kind of sweet. All right, she also has her cape. So this is a 3-cost upgrade. Storm gets +1 defense and gains aerial trait. Hero response. After you resolve the special ability of your weather support, exhaust Storm's cape to ready Storm. So it's a free ready. If you have both of these out in their upgrades, you can have a free ready and a free resource every turn. And starting from turn 1, you're going to be able to use those weather cards to get special effects and affect the entire battlefield with her abilities. Wow. All right. So let's see if there is any more comments. Brant says, can we watch you sleeve them one at a time? No, Peter doesn't sleeve. 9 down knows, he laughs. He's just going to start eating Cheetos while sorting through them. That's not going to happen. The card camera is very out of focus. Oh, you are right. I apologize. Oh my goodness. This is usually really good. Let's see if I can get that a little bit better. I apologize, everybody. Hold on while that looks better already, I think. All right, let me know what you think there. Let's see if that's a little bit better. Sorry about that. All right, well, let's see where we are with focus, what everybody thinks. I think it should be better now. So we got Aurora's Garden over here, which is this is the card we sneak previewed. It's a 1-cost support. Exhaust it to heal 2 damage from your identity. It's an alter ego action. Pretty basic, straightforward card. 1 cost makes it really nice. All right, Weather Goddess. We got 1, 2, 3 of these Weather Goddess cards over here. So let's see what they do. Hero action. Swap your weather support in play with a support of your choice from the weather deck. Resolve the special ability on the weather support in play. So you get to swap. So you get to do 2 of those weather supports in a turn, and that's free. That's a 0-cost upgrade. Pretty sweet. Yeah, the focus still isn't great. I don't know what to do about that. Let's see if I take this card out and it's just 1 at a time, if that'll help. So we got Torrential Rain. Yeah, I'm going to work on the focus. Hold on 1 second, everybody. I apologize. So Torrential Rain, it looks like there are 3 Torrential Rains as well. Hero action thwart, remove 3 threat from among schemes in play. If Hurricane's in play, resolve its special ability. Alright, I'm going to have to keep these weather cards out just to remember what they do. So again, Hurricane is a permanent, so it removes 2 threat from a scheme. So that would be a total of 5 threat removal for our 2 cost. That seems pretty stinking good. And I am sorry that the quality still is not great. I don't know why that is. I could take the stream down for a minute and try to fix it, but I think for now we're just going to power through. And hopefully my description helps, and I apologize for the quality. So you have 2 of these Lightning Bolt cards here. 3-cost event. Attack. Deal 8 damage to the enemy. If Thunderstorm is in play, resolve its special ability. Thunderstorm is the one that does 2 damage to an enemy. So 8 damage to an enemy for 3 costs. That's pretty straightforward, but then you get the extra 2 pop in addition to it, which is kind of nice. And you have 2 of them, which so for some of these heavy damage cards, you don't always get 2. So we got Flash Freeze. So it looks like all of these are going to trigger off of something. I'm assuming this one is triggering off of the Blizzard. So it's a 1-cost event. Defense. When the villain attacks you, the villain and each minion engaged with you gets -3 attack while attacking this phase. If the Blizzard is in play, resolve its special ability. So when the villain attacks you, the villain and each minion engaged with you. Now this is an event. Gets -3 attack while attacking. Now I assume that's just to their attack stat. It probably doesn't mean they do 3 less damage. So if you get whatever boost icons you get are still going to apply. It's just -3 to their attack stat. But still, it also, it's each minion engaged with you as well. Now this is not an interrupt, so you're going to have to play this during your turn. This is an event. Oh no, I'm sorry, it is an interrupt. So you could play this defense. Yes. So you can even use this to draw attacks off of other allies that you have in play. And again, there are 2 of those Flash Freeze. And the Blizzard special ability gets rid of non-elite minions text, just as a reminder of what that one does. So she's really obviously going to play with these forms. We got Wind Blast as the next one. There are 2 of those as well. So the only one that it looks like had 3, Control Weather and Torrential Rain, which is the thwarting one, have 3 of them. Torrential Rain seems really good. Again, 2 costs to remove 5 threat, and you can kind of split it up how you want. It's pretty darn good. Alright, so hero action. Choose a player. Deal 3 damage to the villain, and each minion engaged with that player. Resolve the special event of your weather support. So, Blast of Wind actually does any of them. It does not matter what you're in. So deal 3 damage to the villain, and each minion engaged with you. So again, this is a get rid of a bunch of minions. You have 2 of these in your deck. Pretty cool. All right, so that is the end of the Storm-specific cards. Let's go ahead and see if we have any comments, and then we will get to the the other cards, which are the leadership cards, because she's a leadership deck. Let's see, where is the Storm card herself? You got all these cards. There's Storm. I'll put her up on the screen just so people who come in can see what we're talking about. Let's see. Oh, I can move these decks to the side so they don't bleed through the camera. Fair enough. I will go ahead and do that. Tad bit better. Looks low res, but at least it's still bigger low res. All right. Well, that's good. I don't know if adding more light to the situation will help, so let me do that. Hold on. Perfect storm. As it were. That seems to look way better on mine, so hopefully that fixed it for you all. And again, sorry for the bad quality at the beginning there. 9 Down says, ooh, power creep from swinging web kip confirmed, but low stats might balance it. Steve says, light definitely helps with a clearer green screen, but glare is an issue. Well, it's still a little bit low res from what I can see, but it's a little bit better than it was. So Yervonic says, new aspect cards are always what I'm most excited about. This is not. Alrighty, let's get to the aspect specific, to the aspect cards. We're talking about leadership here. We got an ally here, Havoc, 4 cost X-Men ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack. There better be something good with that. Yeah, 3 life. Yeah, there better be something good for that 4 cost. Force interrupt. When Havoc attacks, discard the top card of the encounter deck for each boost icon discarded this way. Havoc gets +1 attack for the attack and takes +1 consequential damage. Ouch! Oh, but he takes 0 consequential damage. So, if he gets a 0 boost, he just does a free 2 attack. Excuse me, he does a free 2 attack. But 1 boost gets a 3 attack. He can get all the way up to 5 attack with a 3 boost, but that'll just kill him right out. So, that's kind of interesting. Haven't seen that before, so that's interesting. So we have the ally Mirage. It's a 2 thwart, 1 attack ally, 2 life, cost 3. Response: after Mirage enters play, choose an enemy whose scheme is less than Mirage's thwart. Stun that enemy. Oh, so it's kind of like a little bit. It feels like a little bit weaker version of oh, what's her name? Why can't I think of it? Well, you know what I'm talking about with the stunning, her name just, the basic card. But she's got a 1/1 stat line, so that's why. And usually, and it says enemy whose scheme is less. So yeah, you can do it on the villain as well. Yeah, she's alright. Seems a little overcosted. Maybe you're paying for that psionic and the X-Men traits there. All right, so we got Gentle over here. He is a 3 cost ally, 3 life, 1 thwart, 3 attack. With Gentle takes +1 consequential damage after he attacks the villain. So you want to spend, you want to use Gentle to attack the minions rather than attacking the villain themselves. Ah, wow, more allies. I know who's gonna love this. That's Cyclops for sure. So you got Pixie over here, 2 cost, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 2 life. Response: after you play Pixie from your hand, an X-Men ally from your discard pile to your hand. So you can play Pixie, and she has 2 consequential damage for that 2 attack though. Holy moly, which would kill her right off. But she lets you add an X-Men ally from your discard pile to your hand, which is kind of nice if you've, used an X-Men that you need. So Uncanny X-Men. So there are 3 of these in your deck. They are 3 cost. Play under any player's control. Max 1 team card per player. Each of your X-Men allies gets +1 hit point. If each of your characters has the X-Men trait, each of your X-Men allies costs 1 fewer resource to play. Oh my gosh. So they've had these team-ups before. They've had them for Avengers. They've had them for Guardians. But -1 cost seems pretty stinking good. And you could play it under any player's control, which is nice. So, if you were the leadership player for your group, somebody else could even be the one that's got all the allies. and you could play it under their control, and you can even play another one under your control. It doesn't say max 1 per deck. In fact, there are 3 of them in this deck. So, leadership skill. There is 1 of these upgrades in this deck. I'm sorry, there's 3 of these upgrades. I am sorry. They are 1 cost upgrades. Leadership skill uses 3 leadership counters, max 1 per player. Interrupt. When an ally makes a basic thwart or basic attack action, remove a leadership counter from here. That ally gets +1 thwart and +1 attack for the action. I feel like we've seen this before. I feel like we've seen something where you get rid of a counter, you get +1/+1. I don't know. Maybe this is the same card. Let me know if you know in the chat, because I feel like there's a card that is almost identical to this, if not identical to this, that we've seen in the past. But this one's got the X-Men art on it, even if it is something we've seen in the past. I definitely feel like we have, though. To me, my X-Men, play only if your identity has the X-Men trait. Oh, by the way, there are 3 of these in her deck as well. Play only if you have the X-Men trait. Hero action, search the top 5 cards of your deck for an X-Men ally and put it into play. If that ally is still in play at the end of the phase, add it to your hand. Oh, so this is like a play it real quick, but then you get it back to your hand. So you could play it again the next turn. And it's the top 5 cards of your deck. So it's a little bit of a gamble. You're paying 1 to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, see if there's an ally there, put it into play, get to do stuff with it this turn, triggering all its stuff, I think. Yeah, because it says put it into play. If that ally is still in play at the end of the phase, add it to your hand. Whoa, that's nice. That's definitely one that I haven't seen before. All right. Mockingbird. Thank you, Brant. So, yes, that one, I don't know why Mockingbird was slipping my mind. So, Pixie reminds me a little bit like of a worse Mockingbird. Or not Pixie. I'm sorry. Pixie is not the one with the stunning. It was somebody at Toothwort. It was Mirage over here. Yes. Yeah, so she's 3 cost, which is the same as Mockingbird. 2 life, which is 1 less than Mockingbird. 2 thwart, and they have to have scheme less than hers. So again, I feel like she's paying for that Psionic and X-Men tax on her cost there. But still neat. Still a neat hero for sure. And I mean, if you're playing an X-Men deck, you definitely could use it. You have 2 effective leadership. I'm sorry. Interrupt. When you spend this card to play an ally, that ally gets +1 thwart and +1 attack until the end of the phase. And you have 2 of these, and they are max 2 per deck. All right, well, time to get to the basic cards. All right. In Ironheart deck, but it was until the end of the round, says Adam N. All right, so we got Forge over here, who is another basic card. After Forge enters play, so it's a 2 cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 life. After Forge enters play, search your deck and discard pile for an X-Men or X-Force support. Uh-oh, I think they just spoiled something there. X-Force, and add it to your hand. Shuffle. All right. So, looks like X-Force is coming in. And we got Forge over there. Maybe that's the next wave. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just guessing here, obviously. But, all right. So, X-Jet. Vehicle X-Men. We've seen this before. Exhaust the X-Jet to generate a wild resource for a player whose identity has an X-Men trait. It is unique, so you can only have 1 on the table at a time. We've definitely seen that. We've seen this one, too. That's Utopia. You got this. So if you don't want to buy, I forget which ally they came with. You also have X Mansion over here. So those 3 are all things we've seen before, but I guess I should go over Utopia anyway. It's a 2 cost support that lets you get 1 more ally if you have all X-Men. And response, after an X-Men ally enters play, exhaust Utopia and ready that X-Men character. And I will say, if you watch my play on Friday, Utopia is a key card that is part of my strategy with that Cyclops deck that I used. X-Mansion is exhaust X-Mansion and heal 1 damage from a mutant or X-Men character. Any player whose alter ego has the mutant trait may trigger this ability. This is a really good support. You can heal your allies with it. You can heal other players with it because it's anybody that has X-Men or Mutant, and anybody who is face down can trigger it. The only negative for it, which isn't that much of a negative, is it is unique, so you can only have one for the whole table. Alrighty, Endurance. We've seen this before, but not with Wolverine art on it, so pretty cool. Play under any player's control, you get +3 hit points. Pretty straightforward. You get one of those, you get two of those, you get three of those. We got the new Energy card, you got a new Genius card. I know everybody's excited to see these three, and the new Strength card, which we've already all seen all three of these before, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on here. All right, let's get back to some Storm specific cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at her obligation. Claustrophobia. Give to the Aurora Monroe player. Flip to the alter ego form. You cannot change forms. Alter ego action. Exhaust Aurora Monroe. Remove Catastrophobia. Claustrophobia. Sorry. Catastrophobia. Yes. My reading was Catastrophobia on that one. Exhaust her to remove it from the game. So you have to flip to the alter ego form. It doesn't say you may flip to alter ego. It doesn't say forced response either. I'm assuming you have to flip. You cannot change form. So you go to alter ego and you're stuck there. I'm assuming what this says until you can exhaust yourself. Well, let's look at her Nemesis set. All right. So her Nemesis is Calypso. She is a 1 scheme 3 attack elite. She's a Morlock. She has Quick Strike, so you're not avoiding that 3 attack when she comes out unless you're alter ego. Force Interrupt. When a knife fight treachery is revealed, give Callisto a tough status card. So there'll clearly be a knife fight. In fact, there are 2 of them in this set. Let's see how that goes. So, but first, let's go to Leader of the Morlocks. It has a boost icon, an extra boost icon. 2 per player, which isn't too bad, although I'm not a huge fan of per player when it comes to side schemes. I'd rather them say get 3 and then maybe 1 per player instead of 2 per player. I don't know. That's a personal pet peeve of mine. Anyway, when defeated, the player who defeated this scheme searches the encounter deck, discard pile, and set aside area for knife fight and reveals it. So, guess what? You're not avoiding this knife fight, but we're not quite there yet. Let's go. We got one more card first that we will talk about before we get to that knife fight card. And that is Switchblade. Switchblade, it gives +2 attack attached to the minion with the highest printed attack. Otherwise, this card gains Surge. So, there's no minions, gain Surge. Attached minion attacks gain Piercing. So, +2 attack and Piercing. And here's the worst part. There's literally no way to get rid of this card except for defeating the minion. So, you got that going for you. All right, let's talk about this knife fight. There are a couple of them. It's been referenced by a couple of cards so far. So knife fight, the way it works, when revealed in alter ego, this card gains Surge. When revealed in hero, choose an enemy with the highest attack. Take damage equal to the attack. Deal damage to that enemy equal to your attack. So basically, you fight the enemy. Well, that's not great for Storm. I guess 2 attacks not awful, but I am sure she wouldn't want to swap blows with an enemy with the highest attack just to get 2 extra damage in. That doesn't seem good for her. And it's not even like you can block to avoid, defend to avoid it or anything like that. Nope. It is just, take and deal damage. She seems pretty good. I guess we'll talk about it when we're done here. I'm going to talk about it more on my streams, specifically the stream where I am, and again, it's not even going to be a live stream. It's going to be a recorded play where I play through her for the first time. I'm going to talk about what I think about her deck. But let's get to these other aspects cards, shall we? We got Protection first. You get, how many Hanger Bays do you get? You get 3 Hanger Bays, and that is it. Just Protection. That's interesting because she has another encounter set. So let's see what these 3 Hanger Bays are. Max 1 per player. Response: after an ally defends against an attack and is not defeated, exhaust this card to ready that ally. I mean, it seems pretty situational. You'd have to have tough on the ally or something like that, or be a high health ally. Or I guess you could theoretically just use it against 1 damage minions, but it seems a little bit limited. It is a support, so it just stays in play. I'm sure you could build a deck around it. So that's kind of cool. So Shadow King is this encounter set. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's called Shadow King. So 3 scheme, 3 attack, 6 life, elite psionic minion. When controlled minion is in play, the Shadow King cannot take damage. So while a controlled minion is in play, Shadow King can't take any damage. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of the possessed attachment and reveal it. Then shuffle. Well, let's see. We get 2 possessed in here, and we got 2 other things. So let's actually go right to possessed this time, and talk about what that does. So possessed is an attachment. Condition: treat attached ally as a controlled minion with a blank text box. Attached minion scheme is equal to the printed thwart, and it does not take consequential damage. When revealed, attach to the ally with the lowest thwart without a possess attached. If you cannot, this card gains surge. So 2 of those that'll possess, and then while any of those possessed minions are in play, then you can't do any damage to the Shadow King. Now, it doesn't say it here, but I'm assuming their life is the same, their attack is the same. The only thing you're really dealing with is that instead of thwarting, obviously, they're going to scheme. So Ruler of the Astral Plane comes with the Shadow King deck as well. When defeated, discard 1 copy of the Possessed from play. It has an acceleration. So you discard the Possessed. I wonder what happens to the minion or the ally that was attached. I wonder if you get that ally back, because it just says discard the Possessed. 1 copy of Possessed from play. So, 6 though, oh my gosh. Remember how I said I prefer that they didn't come in with per player? Well, this one doesn't. It just comes on with 6. And then the boost is, if you're engaged with a controlled minion, reveal this card. So, I mean, I guess the good news is it gives you a way to get rid of that possession, but I don't know. I don't know if that's worth the trade-off. Astral Attack. When revealed, each controlled minion activates against you. If there are no controlled minions in play, this card gains surge. Boost. Shuffle each Shadow King card from the discard pile into the encounter deck. So that puts those possessed cards, the Shadow King and Ruler of the Astral Planes, back in the deck. Whew! All right. So that was a lot. That was, you got some new leadership cards. You got some new protection cards. You got a new side scheme. And you got a cool new mechanic where you've got these storm cards or these weather cards. And she gets to change her form and do different weather effects as the game goes along. All right. So before we get to Wolverine, so that was Storm. But next, we are going to Wolverine. But before we get to Wolverine, let's see if we have any comments. Nope, mostly comments on just cards that work well, things like that. Yeah, overall, I think she's going to be very powerful, but I think she's going to be a little glass cannon-y. Again, her stat line's not great, but she gets a free 2 thwart, 2 attack every turn. That seems really good. But with only 3 recovery, I guess she does have her card that lets her recover too. It looks like she's going to actually need that. It's funny, when we saw that card originally, we were like, it's okay. A lot of these give you options, do other things. I think she's powerful in a lot of other ways. So that free 2 healing is good, especially with her 1 defense stat and her, pretty average recovery scores. All right, so if you don't want to see any Wolverine spoilers, now's the time to log off, but we are about to open up Wolverine. Cut in. I am excited about Wolverine myself. Not that I wasn't excited about Storm. In fact, I think Storm may even have, some cooler, powers specific to her than you'll probably see with somebody like Wolverine. But neat Wolverine art over here, the exact same as on the card as always. Let's see, Wolverine Hero Pack. The hero comes with everything you need to play as Wolverine. Let's see. You can show this in here. Your first game with Wolverine. Take all the cards. Proceeding the divider. Yeah, it just says, all right, so new keyword permanent. We know that. Piercing, we know that. Steady, we know that. And team up. So it's going to have some team up cards. Team up keywords. Names 2 characters. Include the card with the team up keyword in your deck. And chosen identity must match the printed name of the other character. Additionally, the card with the team up cannot be played unless both of the characters' identity, both of the named character's identity or ally are in play. So you have to have both characters in play to play this. I think this one's going to be the fastball special, if I remember, now that I think about it. I either heard about that or maybe it's just a guess. But, I mean, it's got to be, right? Team up with Colossus. Colossus throws Wolverine across the world. I mean, that's just, you know, to be expected. All right, so we are cutting in. And actually, this one opened up pretty easily. Didn't need much cutting. And we got Wolverine on the top over here. Brent says, I don't think Wolverine is a very popular hero. You could probably just move on. Yes, clearly not a very popular hero in the Marvel. Oh my gosh, recovery of 6. Let's just start with that. So Logan, recovery of 6. Snicket, setup. Search your deck and discard pile for the Wolverine Claws upgrade and put it into play. And we'll get into what the Wolverine Claws are in a minute. But I just can't get over recovery of 6. Wolverine's a 2/2/2. By the way, 5 hand size, 10 hit points on this card, if you couldn't see that from before. X-Men healing factor response. After the player phase begins, heal 2 damage. All right, so seems like he will just take some punches to the face and not really care about that. Let's add the Wolverine's Claws here. Does not have a cost. I know there was a big to-do about this. What happens if it comes into play as one of Ultron's drones or whatever with a dash for a cost? It would mean technically you can never play it. I don't know. Hopefully they have a ruling on that either out now or coming out soon to deal with that. But guess what? I'm just not going to play him against Ultron for now. Wolverine's Claws. Permanent. Hero action. Exhaust Wolverine's Claws. Choose an attack event in your hand and take damage equal to its printed cost. Play the event. Ignore its resource cost. That attack gains piercing. Oh, wow. Talk about getting rid of tough. So you just play attack events for free. I mean, yes, you got to spend life to do it. But, yeah. So you're going to play attack events, spend the amount of life, and then it does whatever the attack says, and it gets piercing. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. All right, you got a copy of Jubilee here. And actually, let me put this Storm deck off to the side because I don't want to accidentally cross the streams here, as it were. So Jubilee, 2 cost, 1/1 with 2 health. Response, after Jubilee enters play, choose an enemy until the end of the phase. While Wolverine or Jubilee is making a basic attack against that enemy, they get +2 attack for that, or +2 for that attack. All right. Seems good. So you get +2 for an attack. You can give it to it's both of them get it until the end of the phase. So choose an enemy, and it could be the villain, I guess. Wolverine's going to get +2 attack, so that'll bring his attack up to 4. Jubilee's going to get +2 attack, bring her attack up to 3. Yeah, and both of them get that for that villain. Seems good. You got Adamantium Skeleton over here. 2 cost. Upgrade. You get +4 hit points, and Wolverine gets +1 attack, and his basic attacks gain piercing. So Wolverine doesn't normally have piercing until he gets the Adamantium upgrade. The Claws will give his attack events piercing, but now his attack will get that as well. +4 hit points, +1 attack, piercing for 2 cost. Yeah, that seems really, really stinking good. All right, so you got Berserker Frenzy. It's a 2 cost condition. Hero response. After Wolverine takes any amount of damage from an enemy attack, draw a card. Force response. After you flip to alter ego form, discard this card. So after Wolverine takes any amount of damage from an enemy attack, draw a card. So you just get cards whenever you get attacked. But when you flip to Alter Ego, you get rid of it. I mean, with your 2 recovery, you might not. I mean, maybe he'd be good for protection now that I'm looking at it. I mean, obviously you want attack cards, but there's some protection attack cards. I don't know. Maybe I'm forcing him into protection where he shouldn't be. I got better. When you would be defeated by an enemy, so this is a 4 cost, instead set your hit points dial to 5, ready your identity, and discard this card. Now, I assume that you could actually defeat yourself to trigger this as well, since you can take damage to play cards. Doesn't seem bad. Logan's Cabin. We got another location here, which is Logan's Cabin. That's a very nice, like, holiday Christmas picture. Like just winter, snowy scene. Very, very serene. Alter Ego action is exhaust the cabin to shuffle a Wolverine card from your discard pile back into your deck. So you could put I Got Better back in. You could put Berserker Frenzy back in, since you have to discard it when you go Alter Ego. So you could keep that Berserker Frenzy coming back if you wanted. Now, you're just shuffling it into your deck, so there's no guarantee you're going to get it. But still seems pretty groovy to me. Oh. Expected one, since we got the team up card in the Jean Grey pack. JF Duskin says, please show the cost of the this card as well. Well, this is just so I bought just to go through what's going on, why I'm having so many technical difficulties. I bought a whole bunch of stuff to do this stream, honestly, because I was super excited to be getting the packs. It's funny because people are like, oh, you get all this free stuff. Well, I spent way more money than you would spend on a couple of packs to put this setup together. So I don't know which card you're looking at, or you wanted to know the cost for. I Got Better, which is 4 cost. You got Berserker Frenzy, which is 2 cost. You got Adamantium Skeleton, which is 2 cost. Jubilee, also 2 costs. And Logan's Cabin at 1 cost. So hopefully that helps with any question you had. You got Berserker Barrage. There's actually a couple of these in the deck. There's 2 of them to be fair, so that is a couple. So it is an attack. Hero action. Attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If that attack defeats an enemy, you may take 2 damage. Repeat this ability. So, deal 4 damage to an enemy. If it defeats an enemy, you may take 2 damage and do it again, and attack again. Now, it does not say limit once, so I'm assuming if there's a whole bunch of enemies with 4 or less health out there, you could keep attacking, and you got 2 of these as well. So 2 cost to do at least 4 damage, potentially 8, 12, whatever. Now, obviously, they're going to be against different enemies, although I assume if you attack the villain with it, you defeat the first side of the villain, then you would still get to play it again on the second side. So that's kind of nifty. You got Slice and Dice over here, which is a 3 cost, and you do have 2 of those as well. So it's a hero action. Make the following 2 attacks in order. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. So again, one of these multi-attack things. And as a reminder, these are both attack events. So Wolverine, because of the claws that he has over here, can just take damage to play them, and they get piercing. So he could take 3 damage to play Slice and Dice and do 2 3 damage piercing attacks. Yeah, seems good. I don't know why it says in order. I guess it just means they wouldn't be simultaneous. I guess the other benefit of that is if you got a guard or something, you could take it out of the way. So you got Lunging Strike over here. It is a hero action. Deal 8 damage to an enemy. If you exhaust Wolverine's Claws to play this card, this attack gains Overkill. Okay, seems good. Again, you take 3 damage to do 8. There's 2 of those Lunging Strikes in there. But of course, you could just pay 3 for it as well. You don't get the Overkill or the Piercing, but still pretty good. So 2 8 damage Lunging Strikes. I mean, I guess we could have figured out that Wolverine was going to be a little bit aggressive. So we got track by scent over here. There is 1, 2 of those in the deck. They are 2 cost super power thwarts. Oh, how many superpowers does he have? Attack, attack, attack. So this is the first superpower that I've noticed. Hero action thwart, remove 3 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from a scheme, draw 2 cards. So remove 3 threat, and you could draw up to 2 cards. Now it's not an attack, so you can't use your claws, obviously, to play this. There's only one of those tracked by sense. Why wouldn't you have to, there's not enough healing with the 6 recovery and the 2 normal recovery that you get every turn. Why not add more healing? And there are 2 regenerative healing cards. Action, choose. Heal 4 damage from your identity or discard each stunned and confused status from your identity. So I guess they predicted that the best way for enemies to deal with Wolverine would be to stun or confuse them. This is a way to just get rid of a stun or confuse for 1 cost, or obviously heal 4 as well. All right. Any comments so far on... Nope, no more comments at this point. So we're going to go ahead and go into the aggression cards. We got Psylocke here. I know one that a lot of people are excited about. I certainly am as well. So Psylocke is a 2 thwart, 1 attack. Psylocke enter plays with 2 psionic counters. I love this with Iron Fist as well, where they start with counters. I guess Hawkeye has it too, where you can do some stuff with the counters. Interrupt. When Psylocke attacks an enemy, remove a psionic counter from her and confuse that enemy and deal a damage to it. So you get to confuse. So it's very similar to the Iron Fist's stun ability, except it's confuse instead. Let's see if I can get the whole card in these pictures. Sorry, in this shot. Hopefully it doesn't mess with the readability of the cards. Hard for me to tell from here. Let me know. Okay, so Psylocke enters plays with 2 counters. When she attacks, remove a Psylocke counter from her and confuse the enemy and deal damage to it. So again, it's almost identical to Iron Fist's ability. I know that because I love Iron Fist and I use them all the time, except it confuses instead of stunning. So you got Sunfire, only 2 cost, 2 life, to attack 1 thwart. Response, after you play Sunfire from your hand, spend an energy resource, choose an attachment with the text hero action or hero response, and discard it. So again, if the villain's got stuff on them, Sunfire lets you get rid of that stuff. We've seen a couple of these cards now. It's real necessary because sometimes, well, especially like for Goblin Glider or whatever, where you've got to discard 3 points worth of attack stuff. Now, again, this is from an aggression deck, so maybe not as big a deal for this deck, but I know stuff like that can get very annoying if you can't draw the right resources. Now, it is only for the hero ones, not for the alter ego ones. So we got 3 Battle Fury cards here. It's an upgrade, play under any player's control, max 1 per player. After your hero attacks and defeats a minion, deal 1 damage to your hero and discard it to ready your hero. I mean, of all characters that love this, Wolverine loves it because he's going to get free healing. So, absolutely, why wouldn't you put that in Wolverine's deck? I do feel like we've seen that card before. I'm almost positive, but not with the Wolverine art, and certainly not with Wolverine, his healing ability, because he's the only one who's had it so far. All right, so a 2-cost upgrade called Warrior Skill. There are 3 of them in the deck. 3 of them in the deck. 3 uses, 3 warrior counters, max 1 per players. Interrupt. When your hero attacks, remove 1 warrior counter from here. That attack deals 1 additional damage. So, more damage from your attack. Now, it's only triggered on hero attacks. It's basically 3 additional damage for 2 costs. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Seems kind of situational. I guess the nice part is if you're like 1 short of killing something or whatever else, it gives you the option to get it. But I don't know. Only 3 uses for 2 cost seems a little... I'm sure there'll be some decks that like that one. Out of my way. Hero action attack. Deal 3 damage to an enemy, 5 instead if the enemy has guard or patrol keyword. So we saw a little bit of this with Shadowcat, where she cares about guard and patrol. So this is kind of interesting. 2 costs to do up to 5 damage with a guarder or a patrol. Absolutely, why not? And you got 1, 2, 3 of those as well. Get out of my way. All right, Precision Strike. We got 3 Precision Strikes. It's a 1-cost event. Precision Strike. Hero action. Attack. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. If this attack defeats that enemy, heal 2 damage from your hero. So 2 damage and heal 2. Yes, please, and thank you. For 1 cost, seems pretty good. And again, Wolverine can take 1 damage to play that card, make it piercing, 2 damage, and heal himself 2 for the cost of 1. Now, again, limit 1 per time. Mean Swing, we've definitely seen this. Now, the only negative for Mean Swing with Wolverine is his weapon needs to be exhausted to use the ability to make attack cards. To make attack events not free, cost life instead of energy. So this is a little bit tough for him. When the hero makes a basic attack, exhaust a weapon, upgrade, your hero gets +3 for this attack. So let me see if there were any other weapons that I'm missing. Upgrade weapon. Yeah, I don't see any other weapons. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to. I mean, certainly if I had nothing else to use my claws for. I mean, I love Mean Swing, and they certainly wanted to add it to the X-Men with the new X-Men art. But I don't know if Wolverine's the best candidate unless you're giving him additional weapons. All right, we got Aggressive Energy over here. Max 2 per deck. Hero Interrupt. When you spend this card to play an attack event, that event deals 1 additional damage. All right, not too bad. 2 of those. I mean, the nice part about these cards is they're wild, so if you have costs that require a certain thing, it's nice and wild. Oh, here he is. So we're to the basic cards, and we're going to start with Colossus, but let's see if there's any comments. Weapon skill is good for multi-attack cards like Slice and Dice. Ah, good call. I didn't think about that. Yeah, you can use it for these other cards as well. Yeah, to add 2-3 damage to an attack. That's a good call, JF. We got Just a Dork. Let's see. I'm loving these cards lately that let you remove attachments from villains. Phase Disruption and Phase Strike always feel great to play. Out of My Way feels like a dud. Relentless Assault already deals 5 damage and Overkill for the same cost. Yeah, but now you can have both of them in your deck. I don't disagree with you, but I mean, it's something. It's a thing at least. JF says, I wonder why X-Men allies highly costed a lot of 3s and 4s. It's pretty difficult to play such a card. Well, I don't know if you saw I think it was a leadership card earlier in the Storm deck, but she's going to there is a leadership card that reduces the cost of all X-Men allies. But yes, they are definitely seem to be premium costed because of that. Although I think they'll probably be costed with that in play. So I'm super excited to try that in one of my Cyclops decks, that's for sure. Jubilee played plus Adamantium Skeleton and Mean Swing is 8 damage. Yeah, no, that's pretty good. All right, let's keep going. So we got Colossus over here. Sorry, my microphone keeps going down. Like, I got this whole new setup, like I was saying, but it is messing with me tonight. Usually, I don't have any of these technical issues, but of course, on a stream where I'm trying to unbox, do something new for the first time, it is giving me fits over here. So you guys can at least laugh at me. I mean, I do that at myself. So please feel free to laugh at me as my microphone keeps falling down for no reason because my table is falling apart. So Adam N says Uncanny X-Men and you can combo it with team building exercise. Nice. That's also piercing. Cool. All right, so we got Colossus here. So 4 cost, 3 health ally, 1 attack, or I'm sorry, 3 attack with 2 consequential damage, 1 thwart. Reduce the cost to play Colossus by 1 if your identity has a mutant or X-Men trait, and of course, toughness. Of course, he's going to come in with toughness, and why wouldn't you? So that's a basic ally. We got Weapon X. Ooh. Play only if you have the mutant trait, alter ego action, exhaust Weapon X to take 1 damage, discard cards from your deck until you discard an identity-specific card, then add that card to your hand. So again, it's just a way to draw extra cards. Any X-Men or any mutant can use it. So that's kind of neat. I like that for 1 cost. Fastball special. Here's that team up card we're looking for. Team up Colossus and Wolverine. Max 1 per deck. Hero action attack. Deal X damage to an enemy where X is the total attack of Colossus and Wolverine. This attack gains overkill and piercing. Sweet. 1 cost. Team up. You don't even have to exhaust anybody, so it's just really free damage based on Wolverine's and Colossus's attack stat. Now there's only 1 here, but I'm assuming there's going to be another one in the back of this deck as well. Again, we have Genius, we have Energy and Strength, and my microphone really just wants to fall down right now. All right, so I think we're back to everything being normal. Sorry for the little bit of a delay. Let's go through the obligation card and some of his Nemesis set. All right, so you got Past Demons, which is an obligation. Give to the Logan player. You may flip to alter ego form. Choose to exhaust Logan to remove Past Demons from the game, or you are stunned and confused and discard this card. So yeah, it's going back to old school. You may flip to alter ego. You can exhaust to remove it, or you can take whatever the other consequence is. He does have a card to get rid of stunned and confused, but I don't know that you want to count on that. I'm sure you'd rather just exhaust yourself most of the time for this one. So you got Omega Red. So from his Nemesis set, it is an 8 life, 1 scheme, 2 attack, elite brute with retaliate 1 and steady. That is a lot of words on Omega Red. Force interrupt. When Omega Red attacks you, deal 1 damage to each character you control. So again, he does his attack for 2. Then he does 1 to everybody, including whoever he attacked. So that, and with 8 life. When you combine that with his side scheme, which is Carbonadium Synthesizer, while Carbonadium Synthesizer is in play, Omega Red cannot be defeated. And it's got an acceleration token on it. So, yeah, there's all of that. Can't defeat him. 5 threat is a lot for Wolverine to deal with, it feels like. I only saw like 1 thwarting card in there. From what I remember, he has 2 thwart himself, but still 5's going to take some turns. So we got this Death Factor card. There's actually 2 of them in his Nemesis set. Attached to your identity, force response. After your turn ends, take 1 damage. So it's kind of working against the healing factor a little bit. At the end of your turn, you're going to take 1. At the beginning of your turn, you're going to heal 2. Alter Ego Interrupt. When you make a basic recovery, discard this card instead of healing damage. Instead of healing damage! Oh my gosh. So that really like limits how you can heal. I mean, remember, he's got a 6 recovery stat. You're just ignoring that to heal up. Now, it doesn't just work with Wolverine, obviously. It's anybody who gets it, but still pretty rough. So, Tentacle Strike. When revealed, you are stunned. Take 1 damage. 4 damage instead if you're already stunned. Usually it's 2 extra. They boosted this one up a little bit. So you're stunned and take a damage. Boost. You are stunned. Take 1 damage. 4 damage instead if you're already stunned. So it basically has the same as the... This doesn't seem like the worst treachery to reveal. I mean... Stunning is never great, but 1 damage and stunned, that is not as bad as many of the other cards in many of the decks. So don't mind that one too much. All right, so let's look at what other cards we have. And actually, let me make sure. First one missed. So is that Past Demons? Is that the one you're talking about? You may flip to Alter Ego to choose to exhaust Logan and remove Past Demons from the game. You are stunned and confused. Or you are stunned and confused. Discard this card. Hopefully you've seen them all now. But let's go to the other cards in there, and there is another modular encounter set as well. So we've got Justice cards in this one. Command Center, max 1 per player. After ally thwarts and defeats a side scheme, exhaust Command Center to deal 2 damage to an enemy. So that's nice. So they've got a lot of these when you defeat side schemes things now that you could build up a nice stack of them in play. I mean, a free 2 damage every time you defeat a side scheme, that's kind of nice, and it does come with 3 of them in this pack. You got Long Shot over here. It is an X-Men ally, 4 cost, 3 life, 2 thwart, 2 attack. Play only if you have the X-Men trait. Response: after Long Shot attacks a non-elite minion, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card has a star icon in the bottom area, defeat the attacked minion. That seems very, very, very situational. I guess there are some decks with a lot of star stuff on the bottom. I mean, I still don't think it's ever more than 50%. So, I mean, 2 attack, 2 thwart's not bad. 4 cost is a little high for something that is pretty situational. We do have another fastball special, as predicted, that will go with the first one we have. All right, well, let's talk about this modular encounter that it comes with, which is called Death Strike. So in the back of the pack, again, you just get the Command Center, you get Long Shot, you get another fastball special, and you get this Death Strike modular encounter. Starts off with Lady Deathstrike. She has Quick Strike. She's a 2 attack, 1 scheme, 6 life. Force response: after Lady Deathstrike attacks and damages a character, that character's owner discards 1 random card from their hand. So, yeah, getting rid of cards. Which I never like. I just played against Toad, does that same thing. That's really annoying. Although Toad gets boosts, so it's a lot easier for them to actually damage. Whereas 2 attack, I feel like you can block and not really have to deal with that. But if you decide to chump it, you still end up taking that. You still have to discard a card. So it's kind of anti-chumper tech, which I don't mind. Lady Deathstrike. All right, so Seeking Vengeance. When revealed, if Lady Deathstrike is in play, she activates against you. Otherwise, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Lady Deathstrike and put her into play engaged with you. Great. So she activates if she's in play. Otherwise, put her in play. Awesome. Not bad enough that it's like an acceleration with 5 to get rid of, but you're going to get Lady Deathstrike in as well. Because why wouldn't you do that? And she's got Quick Strike, which will make you discard a card if you don't block the damage. Wonderful. So, her set has 2 Adamantium upgrades in them. Attached to an enemy without a copy of an Adamantium upgrade is attached. Otherwise, this card gains Surge. Attached enemy attacks gain Piercing. You could spend 1 of each resource to discard it. So, plus 2 attack and Piercing. And you got to spend 1 of each to get rid of it. Yeah. The only good part is you get to pick which enemy gets it, but if there's no minions in play and that goes on the villain, oh my. So 2 Adamantium upgrades in there, and we got 2 Hack and Slashes in there. See what Hack and Slash looks like. It's a Treachery. When revealed, discard a card at random from your hand. It takes damage equal to the number of printed resources on it. All right, and then it is a boost. So random card from your hand, take damage. Discard a random card from your hand and take damage equal to the number of printed resources on it. So same on the top and on the bottom. Yeah, whether you get it as a boost, whether you get it as a just a treachery card. I mean, it feels way worse as a boost, right? Like that's just extra damage when being used as a boost. Interesting that it is not scaled. It's not take like 2 times as much damage or half as much damage for the boost or whatever. Yeah. So that is the Wolverine pack. I like that they're putting these modular encounters in there. I know some people might want more player cards, but honestly, we've got a lot of player cards at this point, a lot to choose from. Modular encounters keep the game fresh, at least for me. There's something you can add to any game you play. You just change out the modular encounters. It gives this game a unique feel. So I do like that they're putting these modular encounters in the back. I don't need like 3 cards from every aspect each time I get a new hero. I mean, I get it that people want that to some degree, but I think these modular encounters are adding something kind of neat to the game, and I just worry about them running out of content at some point. They haven't yet, obviously. They keep surprising me with all the new stuff. I think both of these heroes are very unique. I can't wait to get them actually played to the table. I'm actually going to record my videos tonight. They won't go up till Friday, but that gives me some time to edit and things. And I'm going to have to edit this video too, obviously, with all the technical difficulties I've been having. So, yeah, we'll see. But super excited by the 2 heroes. I know not everybody is going to want to see the modular encounter sets or MojoMania over here. So that's why I did the heroes first. I figured people could leave if they wanted to. They didn't have to stay for the end. But if you want to go ahead, I'm going to take a drink of water and I'm going to read the comments real quick. And hopefully my camera, I can get the focus to work a little bit better on this next set. I don't know what is going on. Like, I'm using my phone, which has a very good camera. I haven't had any problems. Now, again, I've got a new setup today in just the configuration because I have a new table. But I don't know why it's having issues today. So Wasteland says, my phone failed to tell me this started. Sorry, Mary. Long shot needs to get lucky. Seems thematic, says Steve. Okay. Wasteland says, as someone who pretty much mains Colossus, all of these Antimanium villain upgrades with piercing make me cringe. Yeah. Sorry about that, Mary. J-Rob B says, paired with blindfold, you could maybe set up the boost icon for a long shot. That's true. Yeah, because blindfold will let you look at the top 5 cards, discard one of them. So yeah, it's a possibility, but it still has to be one of the top 2 cards. I mean, it gives you a little bit better odds. I mean, there has to be a lot of stars in the villain you're facing, for sure. Brant says, I'll never leave you, Peter. Thank you, Brant. I appreciate this. Yes, and sorry for all the technical difficulties today. This is not usually an issue, but I don't know. I've got a whole new setup, so thanks for bearing with me. I promise next time I do this will be way better quality and everything else. I rushed it today. I literally got this table today. It just happened to be that it delivered the same day that the packs delivered. This is my first time using this setup, so thanks for bearing with me today. When I record my playthroughs tonight, hopefully I can figure out what's going on with this camera and get it a little bit better. But if you're still with me after all that, we are going to break into MojoMania and see what this new encounter pack has in store for us. This excites me. I mean, this is the thing about this game. Every time you get a new hero, you can take it against the old scenarios you already have. Every time you get a new scenario, you can take all your old favorite heroes up against that new scenario. And so the modularity of this game just makes me so happy and makes it so that you can kind of do not whatever you want with it, but it definitely gives you like a lot of options for how you want to play, who you want to play. Do you want to just play standard? Do you want to play expert? Do you just want to play against one phase of the villain, multiple phases? Do you want to add extra cards? So yeah, we got this campaign book here with several scenarios, and there's even a campaign log on the back to record your results. Yeah, so the first scenario, let's see, is Magog. And there are going to be some new rules there. Spiral is the next one. There doesn't seem to be a comic in here, but they do cover specific things from specific cards. So if we have any questions as we're reading through, this should help us with that. And then Wheel of Genre on the last one. So scenario 3 is Mojo. And Wheel of Scenario. So it looks like you might get different scenarios. So maybe even very modular third one. So it comes with this little campaign book in there. Yeah. So, and the expansion symbol, it's pretty fun. It's a little TV because apparently Mojo traps you in like TV worlds and you get stuck in different shows. So let's see. Should we start with this or this? Which one starts with 1? Well, Magog was the first scenario, and it also starts with number 1, whereas Top Billing starts with number 16. So that is probably the second pack that you're supposed to open. All right, so let's open Magog over here and see what we have inside. So, JF says, I'm actually here mainly for Mojo, hoping to have some of the best or fun scenarios. Yeah, I mean, I hope so too, obviously. Like, I mean, I'm just like you guys. I am definitely just a super fan. So this is cool for me. You guys are experiencing this with me. I've never looked at any of this stuff before. So I am looking at it with you right now for the first time. So we got Magog. It's got an A side and a B side. Let's see what the difference is. It looks like right now 1 attack. So you got 1 scheme to attack on this side. Force response after Magog attacks and damages a character. Place 1 rating counter on the champion. Well, we've got a lot of words in there that don't mean a lot right now. But the champion is an environment that comes with this. So we'll get to that one in a minute. Force interrupt. When Magog would be defeated, reset his hit points to 10 per player. Instead, place 3 per player rating counters on the challengers and deal each player a face down encounter card. So this is like defeating him. You're going to have to defeat him multiple times. You got a card called the challengers. You got a card called the champion. It looks like you're going to be adding tokens to these. So when Magog attacks and damages a character, place a ratings counter on the champion. When you defeat him, you place 3 per player ratings counters on challengers and deal each player a face down encounter card. All right. I'm guessing it's pretty similar on the back, except 3 attack. After Magog attacks and damages a character, place 2 rating tokens on the champion, not just 1. And then when Magog would be defeated, and he does have 10 hit points per player, reset this hit point dial to 10 per player instead and place 2 ratings on the challengers and deal each player face down encounter card. So on the one side, he only gets 1 for dealing damage to you with a smaller attack. On the other side, he gets 2 for dealing damage to you with a bigger attack. And you only get 2 for defeating him on this side. You get 3 on the other side. Well, let's see what this champion and challenger card are all about. I'm going to put them both up here at the same time. They are double-sided, so we'll have to deal with that. I'm going to start with the champion card over here first. We'll go through that. So it's an environment. It's a booing crowd. If there are at least 5 ratings counters on here, flip the environment without removing the ratings counters. So if there's at least 5 per player on here, we flip it. For the champion, underdogs, force response. After the champion flips to this side, each player draws a card. All right, so that's good. If there are at least 10 per player ratings counters here, Magog wins again, and the players lose the game. I love how it says again, as if he wins every time. I guess that's a thing. So, we are not losing by scheme or threat or any of that stuff, it looks like. We are dealing... So again, totally new mechanic here. You know, normally you win by defeating the villain and you lose by threatening out. We haven't looked at the actual main scheme here, but right now it looks like that's not the way you're going to win and lose this. You're going to win and lose by these rating counters. So every time he damages you, you're going to take ratings counter based on whether you're using A or B. B is going to be the expert side. A is the basic side. At least that's what I am assuming, or standard side. All right, let's look at this challenger's environment. It's a booing crowd. If there are at least 5 per player ratings counters here, flip the environment without removing the ratings counters. Players wow the crowd by placing ratings counters here. Now, there may be other ways to place counters. All we know right now is defeating them will place them. We don't know if there's another way. Oh my gosh, tag team. The text gets really small, so I'm sure you're not going to be able to read this. Forced response. After the challenger flips to this side, search the encounter deck and discard pile for surprise contender and put it into play engaged with the first player. If it is already in play, give it the tough status card. If there are at least 10 per player ratings counters here, you wow the crowd and the players win the game. All right, so there's a lot of stuff there. Surprise contender. Let's go ahead and pull that card up. That's card number 7 out of 12, but we're going to skip down to it for a minute. So when you flip your card, so when they're winning, I like this. When they're winning, the champion is winning. You flip it over, everybody gets to draw a card. It's like the halfway point. They're like, and you realize you're behind, you get this adrenaline surge. When you're winning, when the challengers are winning, he brings out this surprise contender over here. Elite clone minion, 1 scheme, 2 attack, not double-sided. Villainous, so gonna draw extra boost, or gonna draw boost icons. Force response. After Supreme Contender attacks and damages a character, place 1 ratings counter on the champion. When defeated, place 2 per player ratings counters on the champion. So he works exactly the same as Magog. It's like a second Magog in play. You place ratings counters on the champion when he damages you. So now you have double the chance of getting them. 1 from Magog's attack and 1 from the contender. So it's going to accelerate how fast those are going to come out. Now, this isn't different for expert or standard. So at least we got that going for us. But it's still not great. Still not great. When defeated, place 2 per ratings counters on the challenger. And it doesn't look like it looks like it goes away. So it doesn't say instead of defeating or whatever, replace hit points. So it's when defeated, you are going to get to put ratings counters on. So we got that going for us. Well, let's look at what the encounter card says, because so far we haven't seen any place that you're putting threat or doing anything with threat. So let's see how this works. This looks like so far a Wolverine scenario where you just go in and punch stuff in the face. So contents, you're going to use the standard encounter sets, 1 modular encounter set, 1 random one from the MojoMania scenario pack. So this one, interestingly, this is the first time I've seen this, where it says you're going to use the Magog, using B instead of A for expert, as we guessed. Standard encounter sets, 1 modular set is a random one, which they've never really said that before. They usually give you one that they want you to do with it. This time they're like, no, use a random one. Setup. Put the champion environment card and the challenger environment card into play, each with their booing crowd side up. You got to please them before they are going to be happy with you. So melee in Mojo Stadium. Sorry, just checking to make sure everything's going well. Little Yuki says, hello, is this a sneak peek? Yes, this is, I believe, the first time anybody's seeing all of these cards put out. So yeah, we're just unboxing them and going through the cards one by one. I am going to have a playthrough of both Wolverine and Storm, which I covered earlier. You can watch this video later. I'm going to have a video of both of them up on Friday on the One Stop Co-op Shop main channel, not the streaming channel. And then Friday, I'm going to not be doing any of this new stuff, but I will be doing some stuff probably next week with it on our streaming channel as well. All right, so you got so this is where threat comes in. So melee and Mojo Stadium. So you got 6 threat per player, makes it pop. You start with 1 threat per player, and the acceleration is 2 threat per player right from the start. They are not messing around with threat on this main scheme. They are like, no, really, you have 3 turns, and if he gets an advance, well, good luck with that. The players cannot win the game unless they wow the crowd as the challengers. So, again, you don't win by defeating the enemy. You got to wow the crowd. Forced interrupt. When the scheme would be completed, place 2 per player ratings counters on the champion and remove all threat from here instead. So it doesn't trigger anything except for adding threat, which is no deal, because you're going to get threat if you can't defend damage. You're going to get threat if you don't remove well, not threat. What are these called? I'm sorry, ratings counters. You're going to put these ratings counters on the champion when this pops. You're going to put ratings counters on when they damage you. So there's a lot of way to add ratings counters, and this is just another one. But you're not going to lose from threading out on this one, which again, I think is a fun change of pace. You know, we've had so many scenarios where, you know, you win by killing the villain, you lose by threading out. That's not the case with this, at least this first set here. So Jolt of Adrenaline. So this is the first card you attach to Magog. It's a condition. Magog gains Retaliate 1 and Stalwart. Now those things should not trigger after Magog attacks and damages you. So yeah, the Retaliate damage isn't going to trigger getting points. But Stalwart's not great. And Retaliate's not great. Force response. After Magog's hit points are reset, place 1 per player ratings counters on the challengers and discard this card. All right, so how do you get rid of it? You kills them. That's how you do it. Boost, reveal this card. So no matter what, when you get this card, you're going to reveal it. You're going to put it on. Retaliate, Stalwart, both good for him, but good for you is when you defeat him, you get to add more counters to the challenger's card. So this is another way where we get counters. And another card that is an attachment, Surge of Aggression. Attached to Magog, force response. It's +1/+1 for scheming and attacking. Force response. After Magog's hit points are reset, place 1 per player ratings counters on the challengers and discard this card. And then boost is reveal this card. So again, another way for you to get more points. You kind of want these to come out when you've already hurt them a little bit, just to give you a way to get some extra points. Pump up the crowd, pump up the crowd, pump up the crowd. When revealed, if the champion is on the cheering crowd side, place an additional 1 per player threat here. So if the champion, that means the enemy, the villain in this case, is on the cheering crowd side, so again, he's already over halfway to winning, place an additional 1 per player threat here. So it's going to start with 4 per player, it would go to 5. When defeated, place 1 per player ratings counters on the challengers. So again, a way for you to get ratings counters. 2 acceleration, oh my gosh. Brutal. But at most it's going to have 5 per player. So I guess, I don't know. So the treachery is break a leg. This is funny in more ways than one. As you know, for actors, you say break a leg when they go on stage. But here it might actually refer to someone breaking a leg, and they're watching TV. So it's when revealed, you are stunned. Take 2 damage for instead if there are more ratings counters on the challengers than on the champion. So if you were winning, you're going to take additional damage. You can take 4 damage instead of just 2. You may place any number of ratings counters on the champions to reduce the damage by 1 for each counter placed this way. So you can take less damage by... So this card technically can't kill your character because you can just put ratings counters on the champion card to avoid that damage. But that seems like an awful steep cost. So, yeah, Magog punching you in the face. I mean, this scenario is all about damage, it feels like, at this point. I mean, certainly there is some threat removal stuff that's needed, but even that just adds point to the champions. All right, so defend the title. When revealed, alter ego. Place 2 ratings counters on the champion. Oh, don't be alter ego, apparently, because you're just going to place 2 on the champion. I guess it makes sense. Like, what are you going to do? Go off screen? Like, you're in the middle of an arena battle here. So I guess they're trying to discourage that. But still 2's a lot. When revealed hero, Magog attacks you. If a hero defends against this attack and takes no damage, place 2 ratings counters on the challengers. Oh, that's kind of cool. So it can go either way. And anybody can defend for you, as we know. So defend the title. There's a second one of them. Stage fright. Dr. Han says, is this out? No, this doesn't come out until the 11th. So not this coming Friday, but next Friday, this will be out. But I will be playing some live plays this Friday. So I'll be playing it today, recording it. It'll be up this Friday though, on the main channel. So you're gonna see a Storm one. I'm not gonna play any of the Mojo scenarios yet. I'll probably save that for next week for the streaming channel. But this week I will be playing the 2 new decks, Storm and Wolverine, against against scenarios we've already seen. Yep, Brent says this is a review copy. That's right. All 3 of these packs do release the same day though, November 11th. So we got that. All right, so back to Stage Fright. It's a treachery card. When revealed, you are confused. Place 2 threat on the main scheme, 4 threat instead if there are more ratings counters on the challengers, than on the champions. So this is similar to the one where you're getting attacked, but this time it's threat. So not only do they confuse you, but they're adding threat to the main scheme. Again, more if there are more on the... So if you're winning, then they add more threat. Boost, you're just confused with this one. It's not too terribly bad. Like, there are certainly worse cards that I'd rather draw. Okay, so that is the end of the Magog scenario. The next one we're going to get to is the Spiral scenario. So that's the first one of the mini campaign. So there is a mini campaign in here. You can play the 3 scenarios as a campaign, but you can also play them as standalones. Or you can play it as a standoff. You just sit there. Campaign mode. So let's look at the campaign mode as we get into the second scenario. In addition to being played as individual as standalone. Let's see if I can't get a little bit clearer here. In addition to being played individually as standalone adventures, 3 scenarios included in the MojoMania scenario pack can be played sequentially as a campaign. To complete the campaign, players must win all 3 scenarios in order. To begin the campaign, players choose their heroes. Each player must use their chosen identity for the entire campaign, but they are free to change aspects and alter their contents of their deck following deck construction rules in Marvel Champions rules reference between scenarios. To play a scenario in a campaign mode, set up the scenario as per the normal rules for the game, then follow that scenario setup instructions in order in which they are listed in the campaign instructions. When the game ends, if the players won, follow that scenario's victory instructions in the order in which they are listed in the campaign log. So there are going to be, like, campaign log, there is going to be different stuff. There's expert campaign if you want more challenge. Some setup and victory instructions are preceded with expert campaign only. It's probably the same as most of the expert campaigns, which is there's going to be limitations as far as if you take damage, you can't carry it over to the next one, stuff like that. So it's kind of neat that they give you a mini campaign. This is the first one of these we've seen. But let's look at Spiral. Spiral is the next scenario. So that all of those first cards were Magog. Let's go to Spiral. Spiral cannot take damage or be stunned. Threat cannot be removed from the main scheme. Forced interrupt. When Spiral would attack, she schemes instead. Wait, what? Spiral cannot take damage or be stunned. Threat cannot be removed from the main scheme. When Spiral would attack, she schemes instead. And then you got the other side over here, which is, so this is Spiral Escaped Mystic, and this is Spiral Cornered Mystic. So this is going to be all about escaping and cornering the villain, I guess. So it's a 1/1. If there are at least 3 per player teleport counters here, remove all of them and flip Spiral. Forced response. After Spiral activates, place a teleport counter here. So every 3 turns, she's going to teleport. Now, I don't see a way to flip her back over. When Spiral would attack, she schemes instead. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a way to do it. We'll talk about the level 2 card. Seems to be the same. When Spiral would attack, she schemes instead. Let's look over here. It's a 2/2 instead of a 1/1. If there are at least 2 per player teleport counters here, remove all of them and Spiral flips. So she escapes easier on her second side than she would on her first side, which kind of makes sense. And then after Spiral activates, place the teleport counter here. That's the same. So let's look at Spiral 3 compared to Spiral 2. So we'll start on this escaped side. Looks like the same stat line. Of course, the hit points go from 13 to 15 to 17. I should have said that, per player. And on Spiral 3, cannot take damage or be stunned. There cannot be more. Threat cannot be removed from the main scheme. So all the same stuff. So this side is the same except for the hit points so far. Force interrupt. When Spiral would attack, she schemes instead. So this 2 and 3 are the same. The only difference is the hit points, 15 to 17. But I'm sure that this side won't be the same because why would it be? That would be boring. All right, so level 3, she goes from 2 scheme to 2 scheme, 2 attack to 3 attack, so 1 more attack. If there are at least 3 teleport counters here, remove all of them and flip Spiral. When revealed, Spiral attacks each player in player order, even in alter ego form. So when you reveal this card, meaning when you beat level 2 and go to level 3 in expert, she's going to attack everybody with 3 attack, even players in alter ego, which means you can't defend in alter ego. I mean, you could chump or somebody can defend for you, but your character can't. Force response. After Spiral activates, place a teleport counter here. Now, it takes her a little bit more to flip over on this side, but that's probably on purpose because she looks like she's going to be laying down a beating. Yeah, so interesting. I mean, I don't know how to flip her back once she's escaped. We haven't figured that part out yet. So let's see if this will tell us. So we got across the Mojoverse. Yes, the Mojoverse. It says, so we got the contents. So Spiral, and so you use the Spiral cards, you use the standard encounter set, and 3 modular encounter sets. Does it say? Yeah, and 3 modular encounter sets from the MojoMania scenario pack. Setup. Put the Search for Spiral side scheme and 1 random show environment into play. Shuffle the other show environments together and with the cornered treachery to create a show deck. See the rulebook. Flip Spiral to her escaped side. So she's going to start on her escape side is what it looks like. And then we got to put the Search for Spiral side scheme into play. So let's look at that, I guess, before we put it in. And then 1 random show environment into play. Where are the show environments? Treachery. Hold on. Dropping cards all over the place. These are treachery, treachery, treachery. So there are no show environments in this deck. So they must be one of the modulars because they're not in the Spiral deck. All right, so Spiral, searching for Spiral says force response. After the last threat is removed from here, the player who removed that threat reveals the top card of the show deck and places 3 per player threat here. Hero action. Take 2 damage, remove 3 threat from here. So you could thwart it as usual, it looks like, but you can also take 2 damage to remove 3 threat. It doesn't say limit once per player per turn, so maybe you can keep doing it over and over. Maybe Wolverine is just the, like, remove threat character. Oh, it is a hero action, though. Usually actions are limit once per turn. I'm not sure about that. Somebody in the chat might let me know. So force response, after threat is removed from here, the player who removed the threat reveals the top card of the show deck and places 3 per player threat here. Wait, what? Oh, after the last threat is removed. I'm sorry. I kept thinking after threat is removed. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. After the last threat is removed. So after you beat it, the player who removed that threat reveals the top card of the show deck and places 3 threat per player here. So this can't be defeated. It doesn't go away. I don't know what it does. take 2 damage to remove 3 threat from here. I mean, I don't know what this card does at this point, so I guess we should look at the other side of across the Mojoverse. So 15 per player, holy cow. So that's a lot in order to lose, but it looks like there's only one stage. Force interrupt. When the show environment would be discarded, place it on the bottom of the show deck instead. So you can't get rid of all the shows. The show must go on. If the stage is completed, the players lose the game. All right, I'm still wondering about the search for spiral. Force response. After the last threat is removed from here, the player who removed the threat reveals the top card of the show deck and places 3 threat here. Take 2 damage and remove 3 threat from here. I'm missing something. So if anybody's catching something that I'm missing, there's no limit on actions in this game. That was the issue with War Machine's AE ability. You're right. All right, so am I missing something with this spiral here? What is the search for spiral? I would assume that is how you flip spiral from their whatever side, escape side, to their mystic side, but it doesn't say that on the search for spiral card. It doesn't say it on the across the Mojoverse card. Not that I'm seeing anyway. So if somebody is seeing something I'm not, please let me know. But yeah. Let's see. Double-sided villain, escaped and cornered. Spiral begins on her escape side. This side has the ability to prevent threat from being removed from the main scheme and prevent Spiral from taking damage. Okay. In order to find Spiral and defeat her, players must search for her by thwarting the side scheme to search for Spiral. Okay. It doesn't say it on the card, though. Like, that's the weird part about it. But it is here in the rules. The players can use a hero action on this side scheme to remove threat from it at the cost of taking damage. Wait. Players can use the hero action, to do that. All right. When all threat is removed from search for Spiral side scheme, the players reveal a new card from the show deck. If that card is cornered treachery, it flips Spiral to her cornered side. Oh, so there's no guarantee that you're going to get this cornered card, and it allows the players to damage her. When Spiral flips, she triggers any when revealed ability on the side when she flips. All attached cards, status cards, boost cards, damage, and other game elements associated with the villain remain as they are. When Spiral is defeated, the next stage of the villain deck enters play on the same side as the just defeated stage. So if they were cornered, they stay cornered. If they were escaped, they still escaped. All tokens on her carry over to the next stage as normal. All right, so let's see if some cards tell us what's going on here. All right, so cornered. So this gets shuffled in to that stage deck. So if we look at setup again for across the Mojoverse, setup, put the search for Spiral side scheme into play and one random show environment into play. Shuffle each other show environment together with the cornered treachery to create a show deck. So this cornered card sounds like it's how we're going to get her out, but we don't know what those environments look like because I haven't seen one yet. So when revealed, flip Spiral to her cornered side. This will cause her when revealed text to be resolved. Reveal the top card of the show deck. Shuffle this card into the show deck. This effect cannot be canceled. So you can't choose not to flip her to her cornered side. So you shuffle it back into the show deck. So it's going to be kind of random when you get this. And we'll see because I haven't seen any shows so far. I do believe that is a separate modular encounter deck. Attached to Spiral. So these are Spiral swords. There are 2 of them in this deck, so I'm not going to read both of them. So attached to Spiral, 3 sword counters. Spiral gets +1 attack for each sword counter on this card. Hero action. If Spiral is in her cornered side, spend 2 fist resources. Remove 1 sword counter. So she's going to attack for +3. If you use 2 fists, she'll attack for +2. and so on and so on until you remove all the counters from it. And she could get up to 2 of these. So up to +6 attack, which seems not great. Gotta be honest. Seems not great. Erratic teleportation. Surge when revealed. If Spiral is on her cornered side, place 1 teleport counter on her. If Spiral is on her escaped side, you may spend a mental resource to look at the top card of the show deck and put it on top or bottom of that deck. So again, if you're looking for that cornered card, it lets you, this erratic teleportation lets you spend a mental resource to work your way through the deck. There is 2 of these erratic teleportations. So it gives you, they actually help you. I don't know that I've ever seen an encounter card that actually helps you, but it has Surge at the top. That is why. Yep. But that's a good use for Surge though, I think. It's like, this can help you, but it could hurt you too, because if she's already on her cornered side, it helps her escape a little faster, and it still gives you Surge, but if she's not, it helps you find her. When revealed, each player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a card from the same encounter set as the current show environment and deals that card to themselves as a face-down encounter card. All right. Encounter deck and discard pile for a card with the same encounter set as the current show. And deals it. So I'm guessing all of the encounter decks are going to have shows, is what it sounds like from this. So the show must go on, and well armed. This is the last card in Spiral's deck. When revealed, if a copy of Spiral's sword is attached to Spiral, she attacks you, even if you are in alter ego form. Otherwise, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of Spiral's swords and attach it to her. Shuffle. All right, so this is just another way to get Spiral's swords on her, and if she already has them, guess what? Then she is going to attack you, even if you're an alter ego, which is, no bueno. It says to reveal the top card of the show deck, says Brant. The show deck has a card where you flip Spiral. Yeah, we figured that out. That's the cornered card. You shuffle it in with the show deck. So we need to find the show deck. We don't have it. Again, I'm guessing there's going to be shows in each of these modular encounters. I don't know yet. I haven't seen it. So that's Spiral, though. Seems very interesting. Now, we're going to get to the show decks and the modular encounters and all that stuff in a minute, but that is not the order that they put them in. So I'm just going to go to Mojo because that is the next thing that we're going to see. So this is the finale of this 3-mission campaign. Mojo on level 1 has 2 scheme and 1 attack, 16 hit points, force response. Hero, after your turn ends, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. Place 1 threat on your hero for each card discarded this way that does not belong to the Mojo encounter set. Oh, this is a little bit of the hood in there. It's like, you're not part of the Mojo encounter set. Guess what? You're going to be getting cards, or you're going to be getting threat on your hero, which is interesting. All right, so scheme goes up by 1, attack goes up by 1, hit points go up by 2 when you get to stage 2 for Mojo. When revealed, place 2 threat on each friendly character. So again, same thing. And then force response hero. After your turn ends, discard the top 4 cards instead of 3 cards of the encounter deck. Place 1 threat on your hero for each card discarded this way that does not belong to the Mojo encounter set. Okay, so your characters are taking threat, taking threat, taking threat. Let's see what Mojo 3 looks like. Scheme goes up by 1, attack goes up by 1 now, and 25 hit points per player. Holy moly, that is a jump of 7 hit points. When revealed, place 3 threat on each friendly character. After your turn ends, discard the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. Place 1 threat on your hero for each card discarded this way that does not belong to the Mojo encounter set. 5 cards, so you're going to be going through the encounter set super duper fast. And considering there's only 16 cards in this, wow. In Mojo's specific deck, looks like there's only 1 main scheme here. So contents, all the Mojo stuff, instead for Mojo and the standard encounter sets. Setup. Choose one modular set plus one per player additional modular set from the MojoMania scenario pack and set them aside. Put the wheel of genres, genes or genes. Sorry, I'm reading this from a distance here just so I can have it shown up on the screen. The wheel of genres environment into play, spinning side face up. So you're going to get random genre, it feels like. And let's see how this goes. 25 per player threat to, I don't know, under surveillance doesn't look as good anymore when it goes up to 25. I got to be honest. It starts with 10 per player and it accelerates at 1 per player. When revealed, choose one set aside encounter set at random. Reveal the show environment and shuffle. So every modular looks like it's going to have a show in it, which is kind of cool. So the show is from what it sounds like to me. The show is like the name of the modular encounter set. So earlier when Spiral's cards, like whatever show is facing up, any cards from that modular encounter set are what's going to trigger that ability. That's all speculation, of course, because we haven't seen it yet. So again, when revealed, choose one set aside encounter set at random, reveal the show environment, and shuffle the remaining cards into the encounter deck. Forced interrupt. When a character flips or leaves play, move all threat from that character to this scheme. So that's how it works. So when you either flip to alter ego or leave. So again, this is all about not going to alter ego. Brant's not going to love this because he always yells at me to go to alter ego. So this is basically telling you, no, don't go to alter ego. There was another villain that did the same thing in this set already. So interesting. If this stage is complete, the players lose the game. So you're getting threat on your character, but basically it's saying unless you die or flip to alter ego, don't worry about it. This threat is not gonna do anything. But as soon as you do either of those things, that threat's popping on the main scheme. All right, so let's see what this wheel of genres is all about. It's an environment that is spinning. So this is the spinning side. Forced response. After the encounter deck resets, if there are no set aside modular encounter sets remaining, the players lose the game. So after the encounter deck resets, so after you go through the entire encounter deck, if there are no set aside modulars left in there, the players lose the game. Otherwise, flip this card. So whenever you go through the deck, you're going to flip this card or lose the game. So the wheel is stopped here. Forced interrupt. At the start of step 3 of the villain phase, deal encounter cards randomly. Wait, what? I'm going to have to get this closer for you and for me. At the start of step 3 of the villain phase, deal encounter cards. Randomly choose one set aside modular set and reveal its show environment. Shuffle the rest of the modular set and place it on top of the encounter deck. Deal the first player 2 face down encounter cards and flip this card. Okay. So during step 3 of the villain phase, when you normally deal encounter cards, you choose a set aside modular set, you reveal a new show environment, you shuffle the rest of that modular and place it on top of the encounter deck, and you deal the first player 2 face down encounter cards, and then you flip back to this side. And remember, this side is when there's none. So after the encounter deck resets, if there are no set aside modulars, so you're only going to flip this when it resets. And you start with 1 per player. So it seems like at lower player counts, obviously you go through the deck slower, but you also have less times you have to go through the deck before you're basically going to lose the game. All right, so let's see what all this Mojo Madness is about. And I'm going to probably have to read about what these shows are as well. Because I'm assuming because it's an environment, you can only have 1 in play. And if it tells us that, maybe I don't have to look it up. So you got Major Domo. So it is +1 scheme and attack. Attached to Mojo, force response. After Mojo attacks, discard cards from the encounter deck equal to the amount of damage dealt by that attack. So you're going through the encounter deck faster, which gets this wheel of genres messing with you faster. Heroes can spend one of each resource to discard this card. I find that it is super hard to discard one of each resource, even when it super helps you. By the way, maybe it's just the way I deck build, but I find that super hard. Thankfully, there are some cards that just remove these now, and we saw one in the Wolverine deck today. So attached to Mojo, +1 attack. This is the Stinger Tail. Mojo gains Retaliate 2, ouch. Forced Interrupt, when any amount of damage would be dealt to Mojo, place it here instead. Then, if there is at least 5 damage here, discard the Stinger Tail. Oh, it's not 5 for a player? It's just 5. Oh, alright. That's not the worst thing ever. I mean, I'm sure some heroes are going to have problems with it. And the boost symbol is to attach it to Mojo. Alright, supporting actors. We got a couple of these, and they are exactly the same, so I will just show you one. There's 2 in the deck, though. It's a minion, 1/1, robot, and a thespian. Has 6 life. Force response. After supporting actor activates against you, place 2 threat here. And so that's activates. That's attacks or schemes. That's why there's stars in both. Boost also place a threat on each character you control. So when you're putting threat on the supporting actor, I assume when they're defeated, I think this is the way it works, that threat's going to go on the main scheme after they get defeated. So they're just building up and building up. An obligation. Interesting. So this is the Paparazzi. Hinder 10. So that is 10 threat per player. Action. Choose to either exhaust a character you control or discard 1 card from your hand. Remove 2 threat from here, 3 instead if you're in alter ego form. So exhaust the character you control or discard a card from your hand. You get a choice to remove 2 threat from here. 3 threat instead if you're in your alter ego form. Forced Interrupt. When your turn ends, move all threat from here to the main scheme and discard this card. So 10 per player on there. As an action, you can exhaust your character or discard a card from your hand. Now you can discard all the cards from your hand, and it doesn't say hero action, it doesn't say anything. It's actually better if you're alter ego, because you're removing more threat. Yeah, interesting. I don't know if anybody can do this, or if it's just the current player. I believe it's anybody, but if anybody in the chat knows, so it is an obligation, so it may be limited to 1 player, and it actually doesn't say hinder 10 per player, so this is probably just in front of 1 player. So I think it's going to sit in front of 1 player, and then it's going to activate. That player has to deal with it and deal with the actions and stuff. Now it isn't limit once. You can do all of these actions if you want, but it's really going to limit your hand size, which is kind of a pain, and or exhaust your character, which is also a pain. So interesting. I like it. I like that it's something new. We haven't seen something, and we've seen obligations before, but this really forces you to make choices. How well can you deal with the threat? If you don't care about it, then you just leave all 10 and let it go on the main scheme. If you do care about it, because you don't have great thwarters, you have a way to deal with it still. So JF says, so Bombay says obligations are the only type that other players can't interact with. Thank you, Bombay, for reminding me. And JF says, and it seems it needs a lot of managing and choices on what to prioritize. Yeah, that card definitely is gonna, JF says, I love the Mojo scenario. It looks very chaotic. I think that's that word. I don't know. I haven't seen that. All right. So Undercover Mojo. Hinder 2 starts with 2 plus 2 per player. Force Interrupt. When Mojo would take any amount of damage, remove an equal amount of threat from here instead. So it's not in addition to, it's instead, and it's got the hinder symbol. I like that because usually I find that I don't care too much about removing threat from some of these side schemes. So that one kind of forces you to care. Curtain Call. When revealed, Mojo or move all threat from the character with the most threat on it to the main scheme. If no threat was moved this way, place 1 threat on each character you control, and you reveal it if it comes up as a boost. There is 2 curtain calls. Director's Directions. Looks like there's 2 here, and then we're going to have to open the next deck. The next and last one. So Director's Directions is a treachery. When revealed, choose 1. So again, there are 2 of these. Spend 2 different resources or mojo schemes, or take 1 damage for each threat on your identity. If you take less than 2 damage this way, this card gains Surge. So again, they're using Surge in interesting ways here. They're forcing you to make choices. You can either spend 2 different resources, Mojo's going to scheme, or you take a damage for each threat on your identity. If you don't take at least 2, so depending on your character, depending on the situation in the game, it really matters. So I like the fact that they are having you make some choices on the villain turn. It doesn't seem overwhelming, but it seems like, you know, they're giving you options, and it's not just play out your hand of cards. So I like that, because a lot of times when you reveal villain cards, they just kind of do what they do, and you don't really see what's going on, or you don't really have a choice about it. You just kind of flip cards and see what happens. All right, so top billing here is a treachery. When revealed, heal 1 damage from each character you control. Place 2 threat on each character you control. So it helps you by healing, but it also then places threat out. So the boost is place 1 threat on each character you control. And again, this threat doesn't do anything as long as you don't flip to alter ego or die, I guess. But obligations kind of make you do that too. All right, so we are to the modulars, and let's see. We got 1. It's called Crime, has 6 cards in it. Well, the next one is Fantasy, also has 6 cards in it. So a crime show, a fantasy show. We got Horror, which also has 6 cards in it. We got Sci-Fi that has 7 cards in it. Oh, that's kind of cool. They've got villains in there in the Sci-Fi one. Mojo in the middle. So it's like Malcolm in the middle. It's a sitcom. Oh, that's the name of this environment. All right, so we're going to have to go through all those because they're pretty funny. So sitcom has 6 in it. And the last one is Western, which also has 6. So you're going to be using anywhere from 1 to 3 in this. And at the very back, let's just cover this because this doesn't go with anything so far, is Long Shot. I don't know when Long Shot comes into play, but Long Shot is a 2/2 that is an X-Men. Oh, it doesn't come into play. This is the same Long Shot from the other deck. So you get it as an extra card. This is an ally card you can put in your deck. We've already seen Long Shot, but Long Shot's attacks gain piercing. Long Shot does not count against your ally limit. When revealed, put Long Shot into play under your control. This card gains Surge. The effect cannot be canceled. Interesting. Now, I wonder, because this is a different Long Shot, or maybe the other card wasn't Long Shot. Like, is this specific only to this campaign? Long Shot. Here we go. Might be specific to the campaign. The Long Shot ally card has an encounter card back, and it forms its own 1-card modular encounter set and can be included in any scenario. To include this card in a scenario, shuffle it into the encounter deck during setup. If the scenario requires a specific number of modular sets, Long Shot does not count against this. I would hope not, because it's 1 card. When Long Shot ally card is turned face up as a boost card, it is treated as a boost card with no boost icons. Note, Long Shot is beneficial to the players and will make the scenario he is included in a little easier to win. Oh, that is awesome. I did not see this coming. I don't know if anybody else knew about this, but it's a way, it's like not an easy mode, but it's just a little bit of a benefit. When you draw it as a boost card, it doesn't have boost icons. When you draw it as a, it doesn't count as an ally. When revealed, put Long Shot into play under your control. This card gains Surge, and this effect can't be canceled. So you get him as an ally that doesn't count against your limit, So it's a little bit of a benefit. No boost icons. If it's flipped as a normal card, you get it as an ally. It still gets Surge, so it's not the only encounter card you're going to get. That's neat. I like that. I don't know how much of a boost it is, but it's at least a little bit of a boost. So that's kind of neat. And it can be included in literally any scenario. So Long Shot just comes in, helps out. All right, so let's start with Crime. Crime, again, has 6 cards. I think I'm going to leave the environment here because all the cards I feel like are going to trigger with or work with it. So each other encounter card gains Insight 1. Each other encounter card gains Insight 1. Each friendly character gets +1 thwart. When revealed, so Insight 1 means you add a threat, if I remember correctly. Let me look and see if there's an Insight keyword here. Insight. When a card with Insight X is revealed, place X threat on the main scheme. So every encounter card that gets flipped up while this is the environment adds 1 threat to the main scheme. But each friendly character gets +1 thwart. And that's not just heroes, or that also includes allies, it looks like. When revealed, discard each other setting environment in play. If this card was revealed from the encounter deck, it gains Surge. So, this is how you're going to make this environment deck, it looks like. You're going to take 1 from each of the 3 modulars you have. So it's not like there's going to be a million modulars for that second scenario. I'm curious how it'll play. I guess I'm going to find out this week. So, build the case. Force response. After a side scheme is defeated, place 1 clue counter here. Then, if there are at least 3 clue counters here, discard this card. So, you've got to get rid of other side schemes to get rid of this. Otherwise, it's just a free acceleration. Well, that's a thing. Let's see. Can we get this on over here? Looks like it. Okay. So, crime scene investigation. Hinder 1. When revealed, place 1 per player threat here. Threat cannot be removed from other schemes. Hero action. Spend X mental resources to remove X threat from this scheme. So it starts with 5 plus 1 per player, and the only way to get rid of it is spending mental resources. Wow. And you can't remove threat from any other scheme. You better come correct if you're playing against the crime scene. You better bring your mental with you that day. And it looks like there is a lot of side schemes in this one. So, yeah, that just plays right into it. Law and Order. So, Hinder 1, it starts with 5 also. When revealed, place 1 threat per player. Each friendly character gets -2 attack. Hero action. Spend X lightning resources to remove X threat from this scheme. Alrighty. And then threat cannot be removed from other schemes. So you got to get the mental to get rid of that. This is lightning, or every character gets -2 attack. Seems not great. Got to be on it. You got Dragnet over here. It's still 5 and hinder 1 per. You're going to use Fist to get rid of this one, just like the last 2. This one, the villain cannot take damage. I mean, it seems a lot better than -2 attack or whatever else. Can't remove threat from anything. Yeah. All right. So the last card in this encounter set is Elementary, my dear Mojo. When revealed, choose 1. Move all threat from a side scheme to the main scheme. That side scheme is defeated. I mean, I guess that could help you, especially in the MojoMania scenario, but in some of the other ones, I don't know. Well, it can help you because some of those are like 6 per player, but if you're already about to pop it anyway, they don't defeat you. In I think it was the second scenario that was the case. Maybe it was the first one. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a side scheme is discarded. Reveal that card. So you can either move all threat from a side scheme to the main, or discard cards until you get a side scheme. So that is Dial M for Mojo, which is the crime-themed environment. That's kind of fun. I like these themed environments. Let's look at the next one, which is Fantasy, and there are 6 cards in the Fantasy set. JF says, Longshot is a mini modular set, I think. Yep. And it seems to need a lot of... nope, that was about the last thing. All right, well, let's keep going. All right, we got a game of Mojos. So like a Game of Thrones. It's a fantasy. Each player gets +1 hand size when this environment's in play. That's a lot better than the last one, which was each other encounter gains insight 1 and you get +1 thwart. So here you get +1 hand size. When revealed, discard each other setting and environment in play. If this card was revealed from the encounter deck, it gains surge. And it has a plus boost icon. So you get +1 hand size, but you also get +1 boost. All right, this may be my new favorite card in all of the entire game. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love dragons, and this artwork is great. I love it. I am a huge dragon fanatic. They finally added dragons to Marvel Champions. Yes, please, and thank you. 1 scheme, 3 attack, 10 life per player. It's an elite dragon. Retaliate 1, toughness. Double the amount of damage this minion takes from cards with a printed lightning resource. So if you're using lightning attacks against it, it is particularly vulnerable to those. When defeated, each player draws 4 cards. Seems good, but I mean, 10 per player minion with 3 attack doesn't seem good. That's retaliate and toughness. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. My favorite card, but it's painful. So we get a goblin, not nearly as bad as the dragon. So the goblin, 2 scheme, 1 attack. It's got surge, 1 life, which is way better than 10 per player. The minion can only take damage from cards with a printed fist resource. So you can only attack these with cards. So this encounter set is forcing you to have attack cards in there. When defeated, remove 2 threat from a scheme. All right, next we have a troll. 0 scheme, 2 attack, 7 life. Tough. This minion takes 1 additional damage from each card with a printed mental resource. So you can outthink the troll. When defeated, the player who defeated this minion may put an ally from their discard pile into play. Nice. Then we got a fetch quest, which is kind of funny. So this is bring me a shrubbery, says Sir Mojo. This is surge. When defeated in player order, so it's got 6 threat per player and surge. What? But there's nothing on the card. So in player order, each player may search their deck for a card and play that card for free. But you got to remove 6 threat per player to do it. Put this card into play if you get it as a boost. So yeah, it's just a helpful card for you. You can go get any card you want, put it into play. That actually seems really good. Like, I love that it's creating choices that aren't necessarily in the game innately. You have to decide, do I want to go on this side quest, or am I okay dealing with it as it is? Brant says, dragon! Draw 4 cards each? Yeah, but Brant, 4 cards each seems good, but I mean, 10 life each does not seem good. So there's that. Mana Drain. It's a treachery. When revealed, choose a non-wild resource type. Each player draws 2 cards. Each player must discard each card from their hand with the chosen resource type. So you get to draw cards, but you're going to have to discard cards that have whatever resource type you choose. And a boost, discard a card from your hand. So this mana drain may actually get you cards, because you get to draw 2, and if you have no whatever, you just say, yeah, we'll discard cards of that type. But each player's got to do it. Yeah, so somebody's going to be discarding cards. And that is the end of fantasy. So we got mana drain, fetch quests, trolls, goblins, and dragons in the fantasy set. All right, I like these modular encounters. They're pretty fun. All right, so here's the environment for this next one. The Mojo Files. Each minion gains Quick Strike. I don't love that. Each ally takes -1 consequential damage after attacking a minion. Oh, so that's cool. You get less consequential for attacking minions. When revealed, discard each other setting environment from play. If it was revealed from the encounter deck, it gains Surge. So again, this is just something that is constantly on, stays in play. So You've got the Bandolier. Again, this is horror. So Bandolier of Stakes. So like your Vampire Slayer, Surge, 3 uses, or uses 3 stake counters. When revealed, you may spend 1 resource of any type to attach this card to your identity. Otherwise, discard this card. Hero Interrupt. When your hero makes a basic attack, remove 1 stake counter from here. Your hero gets +1 for that attack, and the attack gains piercing. So this is just beneficial for you. You got to spend 1 resource to do it. It's not even a card in your deck. It does gain Surge, but it is literally just a positive card from what it looks like. If you don't want to pay for it, you don't pay for it. Who cares? That's pretty stinking good. Force Response. So it's a cultist. It's a 4 health 1/1 minion. Force Response. After the cultist activates against you, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Kraken and put it into play. Engage with you. Shuffle. Then discard the cultist. Wait, what? After the cultist activates against you, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Kraken, put it into play, engage with you, then remove the cultist. The cultist turns into a Kraken, which is worse than the cultist, as we will see in a minute, because here's the Kraken. So 0 scheme, 2 attack, 6 life per player. After the Kraken activates, each other character takes 1 damage. So it does say other in this situation, so not the player that it activated against. When defeated, each friendly character heals 1 damage. Well, that's nice. 6 per player. Wonderful. And this does say when it activates, not when it attacks. So even when scheming with its 0 scheme, it is going to activate because that star is there. All right, so we got a vampire here. 2/2, 6 life, attacks with piercing, deal double damage to the vampire. That's fun and thematic. Force Response. After the vampire attacks and damages a character, heal all damage from the vampire. If no damage was healed this way, give the vampire the tough status. Alrighty then. So an Annoyatron that either gets tough every time it attacks or heals fully every time it attacks. Wonderful. Oh, Werewolf Pack. One of my other favorite things in fantasy. Werewolves, dragons. Oh, these modulars are speaking my language. So Werewolf Pack is a 1/3 attack, 1 scheme, 4 life minion. When revealed, defeat an ally you control and place it face down under the Werewolf Pack. So the ally gets carried off by this pack. Force Interrupt. When the Werewolf Pack would be defeated, discard an ally from under it instead, then heal all damage from the Werewolf Pack. So they defeat an ally instantly when they come in, and then they basically get 2 lives. They've turned your ally into a werewolf that gets, once it gets defeated, it comes back to you. But yeah, it protects the pack otherwise. So that is the Mojo Files. That is the horror edition. And next is sci-fi. So we got the Mojo Runner. So I guess like Net Runner is what I am assuming this is referring to. Each minion and ally gains tough. This is in the settings for the... They definitely use this in Mansion Attack. That's a basketball court, I believe. Everybody starts with tough or gains the toughness keyword. So when they come in play, they gain a tough status. It's really fun, and it's actually really good if you build a ally deck. That is for sure. But I'm assuming there are a bunch of minions in here, so they probably accounted for it being helpful. When revealed, discard each other setting environment in play, and it gains Surge if it comes from the encounter deck. Adam N pointed out, N cultist will activate because of Quick Strike on the Mojo Files. Then the Kraken's gonna activate too. Oh man, that's brutal. Many of the encounters. Let's see. I love the show deck. It can be used as a modular set for other scenarios. The show deck seems like the most thematic encounter set I've seen so far. Each card beaming with theme and lots of benefits and danger. I agree. These are super fun. Like, even if you don't ever plan on playing the Mojo scenarios, they seem hard, let's be honest, and they're very unique. But these encounter sets are also very hard, it seems to me, but super thematic and super fun. The way they change up the game, I agree. So that was JF said that, and then Brant says, yeah, Tony said that specifically the Critical Encounters podcast, that each of these were designed to be put into any scenario. So I'll be using some of these scenarios going forward, says JF. Many of the encounter sets just read the effects and not very thematic, or effects just don't link with the picture or name. These definitely are not that way. That is for sure. Adam N says the cult. Yeah, we read up that. All right. So this is the only one that has 7 cards in it so far. So the first one is the Mojo Runner. Each ally and minion gains tough. One revealed, discard each other setting card. We already went through all that. So we got Avalanche 9.0. That's right. We've passed 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. We're to 9.0. 1 scheme, 3 attack, 5 life. Force response after Avalanche 9.0 engages you. Exhaust a character you control and deal 1 damage to that character. Boom, boom, boom. Exhaust and damage. We got the Blob 3.14, which for those of you who think math jokes are funny, that is pi. So it's Blob pi 3.14. So 1 scheme, 1 attack, 6 life. Blob 3.14 cannot take more than 2 damage from each attack. That seems not great. So you got to have at least 3 attacks. Boost, you are stunned. Buffering. The boost for Avalanche is exhaust the character you control. So these are flashbacks to what these cards do in the Mutant Genesis set. There's a Blob, there's an Avalanche. They have very similar powers. We got Magneto 2.6. I don't get that joke. Somebody can explain it to me. I don't get the Avalanche 9.0 either. So 1 attack, 1 scheme, 7 life. It's villainous. And force response after Magneto 2.6 activates against you. Place 1 magnetic counter on him. Then choose and discard 1 card from your hand for each magnetic counter on Magneto. Ouch. And these don't go away. There's no way to get rid of them except for killing Magneto. So that seems like something you'd want to do. Pyro 4.0. Pyro 4.0. That seems to rhyme, but maybe it's just in my own mind. 4 health, 2 scheme, 2 attack. Force interrupt when Pyro 4.0 attacks. Take 2 indirect damage. So before it was flip cards from your deck to take indirect damage. Now it's just take 2. Boost is take 2 indirect damage. All right, Toad 2.0. So they are really referring back to Mutant Genesis. This is the Brotherhood of upgrades over here. So 3 health, 2 scheme, 2 attack on Toad 2.0. Force response after Toad 2.0 engages you. Place 1 upgrade you control face down under Toad 2.0. When defeated, return each card under it to its owner's hand. So you will have to pay for that upgrade again, but at least it's not gone forever, which sometimes happen. All right, and this is the last sci-fi card. Why did they need 1 more? Because they need Ice Toroid M. Ice Toroid M. Not Asteroid, Ice Toroid M. All right, let's see what this does. Side scheme. Each minion gains guard and patrol. And don't forget, they'll also be tough if Mojo Runner's out. Forced interrupt at the end of the round. After the first player token is passed, the first player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a minion and puts it into play, engage with them, and shuffle. So it has 2 threat per player, and it seems awful. Because this is going to come out and then immediately trigger also. So not only is it going to have the 2 threat per player, it's also going to bring out a minion. The nice part is I think you get to search for it. At the end of the first round, the first player searches for an encounter card. So at least you get to search for it, but my goodness. All right, so that is the sci-fi scenario. If you want a lot of minions, play sci-fi. All right, now we get the sitcom. This is my favorite. Although I never watched Malcolm in the Middle, but Mojo in the Middle. I do love sitcoms. One of my favorite types of shows out there. Certainly like fantasy and sci-fi and other things, but sitcoms are my favorite. So Mojo in the Middle. Each obligation gains 1 acceleration icon. Each obligation, so this one's going to have lots of obligations in it. Response, after a player discards an obligation, that player draws a card. So get rid of them to draw cards. Seems good. One revealed, discard each other setting environment in play, and the card gains search if it comes from the deck. All right, Family Matters. This is a sitcom. Treat the printed text box of each support you control as if it were blank, except for traits. Alter ego action. Exhaust your identity. So you have to be alter ego and each support you control. Discard this obligation. So this seems awful if you do it with what enemy first came up with obligations? There was an enemy that put obligations in front of you. And so this would be awful with that enemy. I think it was from, if I remember, it was from Galaxy's Most Wanted, I think. I think there was one in there that did that. But anyway, more obligations. Because they also like triggered based on how many obligations were in front of you. So yeah, this could be brutal. So decrease or increase the cost of each card. Cost to play each of your upgrades by 2. So only upgrades. Alter ego action, discard an upgrade you control or discard an upgrade from your hand. If you have more upgrades in your discard pile than in play, discard this obligation. So you can discard them in play. You can discard them in your hand. If you have more in your discard pile than in play, but you do have to be alter ego to do this. So interesting. And remember, all these cards are going to have an acceleration also if Mojo in the middle is also up at the time when they come out. Reduce your ally limit by 2, which makes it 1. The Odd Couple. Oh, the last one was Growing Pains, by the way. This one is the Odd Couple. Reduce your ally limit by 2. Ouch. Which makes it 1 in most situations. Alter ego action. Exhaust 2 characters you control. Shuffle an ally from your discard pile into your deck and discard this obligation. So you can have one ally. So the 2 characters can be the ally and your hero. But ouch. None of these sitcom cards are funny. I mean, their names are funny, but like they make me hurt. They're painful. All right. The one with the breakup, which again is every sitcom ever has some breakups because there's always like the loving couple. Each encounter card gains peril. Don't remember what peril is. Peril. I don't remember what that is. I think that means you got to do it on your own. I don't remember. Alter ego action, discard 3 cards from your hand and choose a player. The chosen player draws a card and you discard this obligation. So again, you have to discard 3 cards as alter ego. Chosen player draws a card and you discard this obligation. And you get not only an acceleration if Mojo in the middle is in play, but you also draw an extra encounter card per turn. Not great. Then we got Watch Me Play. I guess that is a shout out to Rodney from Watch It Played. Rodney in this situation is not Daredevil. Oh my gosh. My brain, I tell you. I have been doing this for 2 hours, to be fair. I think it's 2 hours. And you guys have been with me for 2 hours, so I appreciate that. This is, Deadpool. Oh my gosh. Insight 3 and Peril. So again, I think this means you got to do it on your own. I think that's what Peril means. Insight 3 means add 3 to the main scheme. Force interrupt. When you look up a rule, you are confused. So, all right, that made me laugh because I forget what Peril means always. So, yeah, force interrupt. So this hurts new players. I mean, it's not great, but it is hilarious. Yeah, because I don't remember what peril means. Alter ego action. Exhaust your identity and discard a confused status card from it. So you have to be confused. So you can look up a rule to get confused, to discard the confused, so that you can discard this obligation. That's hilarious. Okay. This might be my favorite card. Rodney, that's awesome that they named this card after you, because this card truly made me laugh, and that doesn't happen very often. All right, guess what? We are to the last modular encounter set. We are to the last set of cards that we will be talking about today. So if you have any comments or questions, please put them in now. I will be reading them after I am done with the last one, but not for very long because I am exhausted. I'm losing my voice. Actually, that reminds me, I should be drinking water this whole time. Adam N says that's a nod to Android Netrunner, where ice was a type of card that Ice Droid. JF says, damn, haha, that definitely a Deadpool one. You sure are confused. Gotta watch it played. Nice. All right. So again, last set of cards. Any final comments? Leave them out there. Wild Mojo. Each enemy attack gains overkill. Force interrupt. So enemies get overkill. Again, this is anti-ally deck. Force interrupt. When a character takes damage, increase that damage by 1. Any character. Good and bad, I guess. When revealed, discard all other settings. If it comes from the encounter deck, it gains surge. Got it. Okay, wanted. Because I'm wanted. Dead or alive. All right. So this has to get a nod because it got me to sing. So that's good. That's a pro. Maybe not for y'all and your ears, but for me, makes me happy. And every time this card comes out, I'm going to sing. So choose whether you want to play with this with me or not, because I can't see Dead or Alive and not sing. All right, so this is a bounty attached to a minion with the highest printed hit points. If you cannot, this card gains surge. Attached minion gets +3 hit points per player. Okay, ouch. Force interrupt. When the attached minion is defeated, each player adds 1 card from their discard pile to their hand. Seems good. Seems like a lot of life. It's a card shark. All right. This set's making me laugh a little bit. Card shark. 1 scheme, 3 attack. 7 life. There's all kinds of resources on here. Force response. After the shark attacks you, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Take 1 indirect damage equal to the number of different printed resource. And wild does count as a different type of resource, so that would be up to 4 damage discarded this way. It can't be up to 4 damage because you discard 3 cards. But yes, there are 4 different options. So there are 2 gunslingers. I'm not going to show both of them. They are both the same. They are 1 scheme, 2 attack, 3 life, quick strike. Force response. When this minion engages you, before resolving quick strike, you may spend 2 energy resources. If you do, deal damage to the minion equal to your hero's attack. So, quick strike, but you could spend 2 energy to just get rid of it. Or you just take the 2 damage. It's a moderately difficult card, but not too bad, which I like. A game of cards. It's not really a nod to the Game of Thrones, but I don't know why when I see Game of something, I think Game of Thrones right away. It's obviously a Western. Westerns, they play poker all the time, so it's not a nod that way. But anyway, when revealed, draw 5 cards. Choose and discard 5 cards from your hand for each different printed resource type. So there are up to 4, including wilds. Discarded this way. Discard an upgrade or support you control. So you draw 5 cards and you discard 5 cards. For each different resource on those cards which you've chosen, you have to discard an upgrade or support you control. Now, of course, if you don't control upgrades or supports, you don't do nothing. This is very anti-Spider, who's one of my favorite heroes, so I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Don't force me to discard my upgrades and supports. Also very anti, what's her name? Black Widow, which is also one of my favorite characters. Come on now. Don't be killing my favorite characters. All right. Well, we have just covered a ton of stuff. We have covered all these modular encounter sets. We've covered 3 different scenario packs. We have covered 2 new heroes. It's a lot. It's a lot. There is a lot of content coming your way. November 11th. All of it looks fun. I got to be honest. I'm super curious about Storm. She seems very different than any other hero we've seen. Wolverine's just cool. Like, just free healing all the time, and then you can hurt yourself to do more stuff. I love heroes that are kind of that risk reward. You don't heal till the beginning of your turn, so it's like, well, I got to deal with a few less hit points. That's fine. I'll get them back, but maybe I'll take some more damage in the meantime. So I don't know. It's all fun. If you want to see these decks played, I'm not playing the scenarios, but I am playing both heroes. You'll see them both on One Stop Co-op Shop this Friday. Come back. If I don't have a voice because I'm recording them tonight, because I am going on a work trip tomorrow. So this is what it is. Like, I had to get this all done today. Unfortunately, it just came to me today, or trust me, I would have recorded before now. But I did want to do the unboxing, so everybody got to see everything as it came in. Hopefully you enjoyed. Brant says, thanks, Peter. Thank you, Brant. I appreciate it. I'm hoping that MojoMania will become the community's favorite scenario pack. It looks fantastic. It does look fun. I will say it looks hard. Maybe the Wild West one wasn't as hard as the rest. I don't know. The rest of them seemed like they had at least a bunch of like quite difficult cards in there. So it'll be interesting because it looks like a little bit of they put a little bit of hood in this scenario pack. Lots of different modulars. Just choose a random one every time you play. So every time you play against all these villains, they're going to play completely differently because you're going to have a different smattering of encounters in there. So that's the nice part. They don't say this is the one to play with this. No, sometimes you're going to play it in the Wild West. Sometimes you're going to play it in a sitcom. So that's kind of neat. What scenario will you play? Can it be Mogag? That was the first one, right? So Magog, I'm sorry. I am not going to play any of these scenarios for Friday. I am just going to play the new heroes because I know some people don't want the scenario stuff spoiled until they play it themselves. But I promise you next week on the stream, I will be playing all three of these scenarios. Probably starting Monday when I come back. So I will be playing these scenarios, but I want to give people a chance to see the new heroes without spoiling the scenarios if they want. Because I don't know. I tried it one time where I did both at the same time. First of all, it's a lot of new rules for me to process. But the second part of it is I do like giving people the option. If they want to see new scenarios, great. And I'm not going to have time to record 5 recordings tonight. There's no way. I'm barely going to get the 2 heroes in. I'm not even going to get to edit them, which is why they won't go up until Friday because I want to make sure they're nice and edited for the main channel. So I'll record them tonight and I'll spend a lot of the time tomorrow. And depending on how quickly, if I get them done tomorrow, awesome. I hope that is my hope. That is my goal. If not, though, I may have to spend some time Friday, so they may come out later in the day if that's the case. But usually we try to get them up, by 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. JF says, yeah, thanks for this. Seeing Mojo Pack is fun. Gotta play it. Probably the scenario always. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that we revealed today. A lot of looking forward to playing Mojos. It's definitely, yep. So cool. Well, thank you all for joining us. I know this was a long one, and don't worry if you got to break it up into several segments. With a lot of the technical difficulties, I may or may not edit them out. My goal is to edit them out, but I have a lot of goals in life, and I'm super busy. Hopefully I get some free time while I'm working this conference this weekend, because I am working all weekend. But there's a lot of downtime at these conferences, so hopefully they have good internet. Hopefully I can edit some of this down to just take out some of the choppy technical issues we had earlier. Sorry the clarity wasn't as good as I would have wanted it to be. Hopefully I get it fixed for the playthroughs on Friday. I'm going to definitely do some tweaking, try to do as best I can, but it is what it is. I only have so much control over the technology here. I will do my best. That's all I can promise, and it will just continue to get better over time as well, as I get used to this. So even though I've been streaming for 1.5 years now, this is really my first time streaming with live stuff. I've really hesitated to do it. Trust me, I would love to scan all this stuff in and play it online, but because it was given to me as a review copy, I feel like I should be playing with the physical actual cards, showing off, the way they want it to be, and that way if they want to use it, Fantasy Flight wants to use it in any way, they can do that as well without worrying about it being a digital version of the cards. So I am going to play it all physically. Now, when I play next week, will I have scanned stuff in, and will I be playing those a different way? Maybe. We'll see how well this goes. I know a lot of people prefer watching it digitally because you get a much clearer view. Again, we wouldn't have any of these problems if this was all digital mock-up. I couldn't have done it. I literally just opened the cards in front of you as you've seen. So, but you don't get the blurriness issues. You don't get a lot of issues you get with live recordings. It's a lot easier to see everything. So we'll see. I'm going to try to do more live recordings, but if I can't get the quality where I want it to be, then I am going to revert back to doing a lot more digital playthroughs of games, and only when I get free review copies will I do it in a physical form. So anyway, hope everybody enjoyed it. Stay tuned. If you aren't subscribed to One Stop Co-op Shop or One Stop Co-op Shop Streamed, and we have a podcast also, if you aren't subscribed to all three of those things, you should be. Join our Discord channel. We have great conversations there. We definitely have a Fantasy Flight LCG section in there. We have a general section where there's a lot of talk. Our streaming channel, we stream Marvel Champions literally every Friday night. So be there or be square. But anyway, thank you all for joining us, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!